Orleans, where the Saints have had a rough week dealing with a loss to the Cardinals and some well-publicized team dissension as well. As for the Buccaneers, they're hoping quarterback Chris Sims can provide a spark in his first NFL start as they look for their first victory of the season. It is the Saints and the Bucs in an NFC South battle here at the sold-out Superdome. And hello again, everybody. I'm Dan Miller, joined in the booth today by 11-year NFL veteran quarterback Jason Garrett, who did, in fact, give the Dallas Cowboys a spark back in 1994 when he led them to a team record 36 second-half points as the Cowboys beat Green Bay. All right, Jason, we should also mention you were in camp with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year. You know Chris Sims, and like Chris Sims, you made your first start in your second season. What's he going through right now?
Well, Chris is very excited. This is a great opportunity for him. He's a wonderful athlete. He's got a live arm and great feet. Chris's biggest challenge today is going to be stay relaxed and to stay calm early in this ball game. He has to find a little rhythm. He's got to let the system and the players around him work for him. Look at that man right there, Michael Pittman. John Gruden's going to call on him early and often this afternoon.
All right, as for the Saints, as we mentioned, they're dealing with a blowout loss in Arizona last week. And after that game, a shouting match on the plane between defensive end Charles Grant and quarterback Aaron Brooks. How do they put it all behind them?
Well, a lot of controversy, a lot of frustration among the New Orleans Saints players and coaches this week. Monty Kiffin, the Bucs defensive coordinator, said, you don't want to play these guys after a big loss. They play like a wounded dog. Jim Haslett has a history of rallying the troops and getting them to play well after tough losses. Look for Deuce McAllister coming back off that high ankle sprain. He's going to carry it often today.
All right, folks, don't forget there is still time to select your singular fantasy football team for this week. Text message 63504 on your singular wireless phone or vote on foxsports.com. We are getting set for the kickoff and expecting a good one. 8 of the last 10 matchups between these two teams have been decided by a touchdown or less. We'll be back to get this one started right after this. Back at the Superdome in New Orleans, getting set to go between the Buccaneers and the Saints. Tampa Bay coming into this one expecting some young players to lead them, namely Chris Sims, their starting quarterback, and Michael Clayton, their outstanding young wide receiver. And this is a homecoming of sorts for the gentleman who's from Louisiana and also went to LSU.
Hey, relax. I'm good, baby. Hey, we're going to relax. Let the game come to you. You a hell of an athlete, I'm a hell of an athlete. Get your shine on all day long, cause I'm gonna get mine on. Let's go, big boy, let's go, baby.
All right, Jason, we got a chance to talk to both Chris Sims and Michael Clayton together yesterday. You love to have a rapport between a quarterback and a receiver. These guys are just starting to play together, but you can see it forming already.
Well, absolutely. They've worked hard together through the offseason and through training camp. And I love what Michael Clayton said to Chris Sims. Just relax, let the game come to you. Michael Clayton is the most explosive players the Bucs have on offense. Chris Sims is going to look for him early in this ball game. But Chris has got to settle into the rhythm of the game. Michael Clayton's a good guy to have on your side.
No question about it. Michael Clayton has shown himself to be one of the top rookies in the NFL at the wide receiver position. Jim Haslett right there, head coach of the New Orleans Saints, looking to get this thing turned around and once again finding himself on a roller coaster with this team.
Yeah, this team is 500 since they won the division in the year 2000, and Jim Clayton, Jim Haslett's trying to address that situation. They've been inconsistent, but again, they've tended to play well coming back off of a loss, and they had a rough loss last week in Arizona. I think the Saints are going to play well, and they feel like they can play well against Tampa Bay. They've won 3 out of the last 4, and they're going to play a tough physical ball game this afternoon.
All right, Saints have won the toss and chosen to receive. Martin Gramatica is set to kick it off, and we are underway at the Superdome. Michael Lewis back deep for the Saints, goes to one of the up back, he returns it out across the 25. Aaron Stecker out to the 27, and that's where the Saints will take over. First down and 10, and leading the attack for New Orleans, Aaron Brooks, their multi-talented quarterback, He's got size, 6'4" and 220, but he is mobile as well, Jason.
He sure is a wonderful athlete, and you talk to the Tampa Bay defenders, and they're scared of this guy. Once he gets into a little rhythm himself, he can be very dangerous. Had some fumbling problems so far this season, but if he gets it going, number 2 is a tough quarterback to stop.
They're not booing. They're saying deuce. That's the good news for this Saints offense, is that Deuce McAllister is back in there starting after missing the last 2 games with an ankle injury, and he gets the call right off the bat. McAllister through the middle of the line and breaking free across the 35 to the 36. Deuce McAllister picking up 9 before Ian Gold can take him down. Checking the rest of that Saints lineup, we'll start with the guys up front: Gandy, Jaycox, Bentley, Holland, and Riley. As for the skill positions, we already mentioned to you that Deuce McAllister will be getting the start today. Keep an eye on Joe Horn, always dangerous, and also Dante Stallworth, wide receiver in his 3rd year out of Tennessee, who seems to be coming into his own. 2nd down 2 now. Gives to McAllister's got the first down as he bursts out close to the 40-yard line, taken down at the 39 by Rondé Barber, but 2 carries and a first down. That's what the Saints wanted to see from Deuce McAllister coming off of that sprained ankle. Let's talk about this Tampa Bay defense, and it's a defense that has gotten a lot of attention. As you look up front, Anthony McFarland moving in, also Chartrick Darby as well, both of them trying to fill the vacancy left by Warren Sapp. Ian Gold, free agent acquisition during the offseason from Denver. Derek Brooks, longtime linebacker who's been outstanding for the Bucs. There's the secondary as well. First down and 10, opening possession of the game. Saints have it at their own 39. Brooks gives it again to McAllister. Not much there. Falls forward for 1. That'll bring up 2nd down and 9.
Pretty simple approach so far by the Saints, playing 2 backs and 2 tight ends. Deuce McAllister is going to hammer this Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense. They're fast, they're active, they're athletic, but they're not big on defense. The Saints feel like they have the formula. Take number 26 and hammer him into the line of scrimmage. Let him run north and south and see if this Buck defense can hold up.
Saints go 3 receivers here.
You got it.
On 2nd down and 9. Deuce McAllister, the lone back behind Brooks. Brooks on the play action fake, back and looking to pass, looking left side, throws it down there, wants Joe Horn. Horn hits him in the hands and falls incomplete. Horn had a chance to pick that one up, but couldn't come up with it.
Aaron Brooks trying to get Joe Horn down the middle. It's a 2 deep coverage by Tampa Bay. A little play action pass. You see Horn in the slot. The responsibility to take the middle of the field is Shelton Quarles, number 53. You see him running. Aaron Brooks makes a good throw. Joe Horn normally makes that play. That's the kind of play the Saints need to make today. They need to make the big plays early, get a little rhythm going on offense.
Shelton Quarles right there in his 8th year out of Vanderbilt. 3rd down and 9 now. Deuce McAllister and Aaron Stecker both in the game. They flank Aaron Brooks, who's in the shotgun. Brooks back, gets it out of there. Pressure was coming. It's incomplete. The Bucs were bringing the pressure right there on Aaron Brooks.
The Saints have struggled in 3rd down situations, converting like 25%. Watch Simeon Rice on the right of your screen coming around the corner. 96, Ellis Wims. When Simeon Rice gets a lot of attention outside, it frees things up. Ellis Wims getting to Aaron Brooks and causing the errant throw.
Saints set to punt it away here. Mitch Berger comes on. Veteran Tim Brown back deep for Tampa Bay. Calls for the fair catch, makes it at the 25, 35-yard punt, and that's where the Bucs will take over right there. We are scoreless early in the 1st quarter here in New Orleans. Back at the Superdome, the Buccaneers take over for the first time today, and that means our first look at 2nd-year quarterback Chris Sims making his first start.
Chris is awfully excited about this opportunity. He's really worked hard, and he has to guard against being a little too pumped up right now. I think John Gruden's going to use the running game early in this game to allow Chris to get his feet wet.
Well, Michael Pittman and Mike Allstott both start in the backfield. Now Pittman splits out wide left. Allstott, the lone back behind Sims. Sims with a give to Allstott. Finds a little hole through the middle of the line. Gets across the 25 out to the 28. Jay Bellamy comes up from his safety position to stack him up. Gain of 4 to bring up 2nd down and 6. Let's check out the rest of the Buccaneer offense. Up front, keep an eye on the guys in the middle. Stinchcomb, Wade, and Coleman. Also Todd Stussy, the right tackle. Michael Pittman's going to be a big part of this football game today. The Bucs want to get their running game going. Michael Pittman played for the first time last week after having a 3-game suspension. Pittman is behind Sims right now on second down. He gets the call. Pittman tries the left side, stacked up right at the line, falls forward for 2, and that's going to bring up third down. Let's take a look at the New Orleans defense and start up front with the big guys. And Charles Grant is definitely one man to keep your eye on. 5 sacks so far. That is second in the NFL. And on the other side, Darren Howard coming in with 2 sacks. Allen, Ruff, and Rogers are the linebackers. And in the secondary, Ambrose, Thomas, Bellamy, and Jones. Third down, 4 now for Tampa Bay. Tim Brown checks in. 17-year veteran out of Notre Dame. Sims on the give. It's Pittman. Finds a hole, gets across the 35, out to the 37. Ball comes loose. The Saints say they have it. They do. Pittman found the first down, but Derek Rogers found the football, pried it loose, and then recovered it. Big play by Derek Rogers.
It sure is, and the Saints really need plays like this. They haven't stopped the run well all year long, but when you're opportunistic and create turnovers, that can make up for a lot of problems in defending the run. Derek Rogers makes the strip, and he makes the recovery. The Saints are in Buck territory.
So Derek Rogers coming up with the kind of play that the Saints need, a turnover. And hang on 1 second. We may have a challenge here. Let's see if the Buccaneers are going to try to say that Michael Pittman was down. Take a close look here. But I think that's what John Gruden's going to ask for.
Fumble is being challenged by Tampa Bay.
Well, you know what the rule is. If his knee was down before the ball came loose, that's what the officials are going to look for. We'll have their verdict when we come back. New Orleans has it in good position, but will they keep it? Down before Derek Rogers was able to pry it loose and then recover the fumble. Take a look for yourself.
I think it's the right challenge by John Gruden, but I don't know that there's enough there. The question is, does that left knee hit down before Derek Rogers pries that ball out? And I think it's pretty darn close. I think the call on the field is going to remain because I don't think there's enough there to overturn it.
Well, our referee Mike Carey is taking a look at it, and we'll get the verdict from him in just a moment.
I think it's the right challenge by Gruden, though, particularly early in this ball game. You don't want to give the Saints the ball in Buck territory, but again, I don't think there's enough there. It's sort of a bing-banger.
Well, these are two teams looking for some confidence, and an early play like this can give you confidence or it can take it away. If you're Tampa Bay, you're 0-4. Things have not been going well for you so far this year. If you're New Orleans, you're 2-2. But this team seemingly always is looking for a spark. They always need something good to happen to them, and then they can find a role. This is a great play for them early in the game.
It sure is, and the Saints look like they've come to play opportunistic, creating turnovers. This will be big if they can get this.
Well, Mike Carey making his way back out to the field right now with his decision.
After reviewing the play, the runner's knee was down and he had control of the ball. There was no fumble. Tampa Bay's ball, 1st and 10 on the 37-yard line. Tampa Bay will not be charged with the team timeout.
And I think it's probably the right call. I didn't know that there was going to be enough there for them to overturn it, but a good challenge by John Gruden and a good break for Tampa Bay.
Well, Tampa Bay will in fact keep the football, and the upshot of that is they also had enough yardage for a first down, so their drive stays alive.
Remember, 3 runs in a row, all stopped Pittman trying to take some pressure off of Chris and also trying to attack this Saints defense. 31st in the NFL coming into this game against the run. They gave Emmitt Smith 127 yards last week. So look for some more of Michael Pittman, particularly early in this ball game.
211 total yards by Arizona last week. In talking to New Orleans, they felt many of those came in the 4th quarter when the game was already out of reach. But bottom line, neither of these teams have run the ball well this year. Neither of these teams have defended the ball well. First down and 10 now for Chris Sims and the Buccaneers. Sims back looking to throw his first pass. Does. It's complete to Lee out across the 40. Check that, incomplete. They'll say he was out of bounds. So Lee caught the football but couldn't get both feet down, and that'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
And this is what Tampa Bay does on offense. They're going to shift and move a lot, and then they're going to throw high possession passes. A 3-step drop by Chris Sims. Delivers the ball in the flat to Charles Lee. Charles Lee doesn't get that 2nd foot down, and those are the kind of plays that Chris needs. They need to stay in rhythm on offense early in this ball game.
Charles Lee, 6'3", 227, 5th year out of Central Florida. They like the progress he's made this year. 2nd down, Sims to throw again. Rolls out, got it complete at the 50-yard line, down inside the 45 to the 41 to Charles Lee. 22 yards on the play, and a first down as the Bucs move into Saints territory.
And this is the other thing we're going to see from Tampa Bay. This is what Chris Sims brings to the table. Play action pass. They fake to the right, and here comes Chris on the bootleg. He settles down, a lot of room to throw the football, and delivers a strike to Charles Lee. Charles Lee working inside, and he works away from Jay Bellamy, coming back and helping his quarterback out. Charles Lee's an explosive player. He can make some plays down the field. That's what Tampa needs this afternoon.
Bucs now have it first down and 10 at the 41-yard line of New Orleans. Sims to throw again, little rollout, gets it out to fullback Greg Camella. Camella with some room to run inside the 30, down to the 29. Derek Rogers takes him down, but it's enough for another first down, a gain of 13.
Hey, run on the first 3 plays of this game, and then 2 play actions for Chris Sims. Both of them fake to the right side. Chris comes out to the left. He slips the ball into the flat to that true West Coast fullback, Greg Camella. Camella does the rest.
So the Saints on the move here in their first series with Chris Sims as their starting quarterback. Keep this in mind, the Bucs only have 3 first-quarter points all year, looking to get off to a quicker start here. The give is to Pittman. Barrels his way down towards the 25. Pick up a 3 as he's taken down at the 26. That'll bring up second down and 7.
You know, Dan, I like what John Pease, the defensive line coach for the Saints, said. You know, a lot of people said that Arizona got 130 yards in the 4th quarter. The Saints were trying to get the ball back. They were blitzing all that stuff. John Pease said, hey, 211 yards on the ground is 211 yards on the ground. We got to be better at it. And it looks like Tampa Bay's taking it to them up front so far in this ball game.
Well, you look at the current drive, 7 plays, 50 yards, 3.5 minutes off the clock. Tampa Bay doing a nice job of controlling things right here, facing a second down at 7. Sims up under center, looking left, throws it out there, wanted Allstott, incomplete. That'll bring up 3rd down.
Again, those are the plays that Chris has to convert on. You know, we saw the early throw to Charles Lee was out of bounds, and that one right there looked like Mike Allstott could have had it. But in order to be effective in this offense, you got to make the little plays. You got to make the 3, 4, 5-yard completions to stay on pace. They haven't done that, and now they have a 3rd and 7 situation. These are not easy to convert.
Well, in particular for a young quarterback making his first start. They'll make some noise here at the Superdome. Bucs trying to keep that drive alive. 24-year-old Chris Sims calling out the signals at the line. Sims with the inside handoff to Michael Clayton. Clayton with some room, gets to the right side inside the 15, down to the 11. First down, Bucs to Bucky Jones. Finally drove him out of bounds.
Boy, I love the call. The favorite son comes home. The last time Michael Clayton was here, he was winning a national championship. Watch Clayton in the bunch set. They fake the toss to Pittman. They come back with the underneath handoff to Clayton. This guy was a star at LSU. They won a national championship here last January. Coming home and making a mark early in this ball game. He's definitely the Buccaneers' most explosive offensive player. They're trying to get him the ball in a lot of different ways.
The Bucs trying to get the play in here. They're not going to do it in time. With the play clock winding down, Chris Sims is going to have to call a timeout, walk over to the sidelines, and talk things over with John Gruden. We are scoreless in the first, but the Bucs are on the move. We'll be right back. Trips to the red zone, 1 touchdown, Jason.
They got problems in both areas. 7's not enough through 4 games, and 1 out of 7 ain't real good either, and that's a question that John Gruden's trying to address right here. We'll see how they do.
All right, Gruden sends 3 receivers in the game. Michael Pittman alone back behind Chris Sims. First down 10 from the 11. Pittman gets the call, right side, gets inside the 10, down to the 8-yard line, pick up a 4. It'll bring up second down and 6. Derek Rogers, the outside linebacker, coming up to stack things up.
Hey, Dan, the teams that are the best in the red zone are teams that run the ball in the red zone. I like what John Gruden did right there. 3 wide receiver set, and then you hand the ball to Pittman. Yards are hard to get down there. If you can run it, you're really heading in the right direction.
Well, they're bringing in a lot of beef right here. Mike Allstott stays in along with the other fullback, number 34, Greg Camilla. They're both lined up behind Sims right now. Sims gives it to Allstott, powering his way inside the 5, down to the 4. That'll be a gain of 3 and bring up 3rd down. Brian Young, defensive tackle, making the stop for the Saints.
You know, we asked Jim Haslett this week, what do the Saints have to do? He said, we got to do 2 things. We got to run the football, and we got to stop the run. And, you know, he's an old linebacker. He's a tough guy. He believes it begins and ends in the running game, and I do too, particularly down here they got to put Chris Sims and this young Tampa Bay offense on their heels a little bit in throwing situations. They haven't stopped them in the run so far in this first quarter of the ball game.
3rd down and 3. They can get a first down without scoring. 12th play of the drive right here. Sims, play action, back, looks, left side, throws it out there. Clayton, did he catch it? No, incomplete. Michael Clayton got his hands on the football. Fred Thomas in coverage, doing enough to break it up, and that'll bring up 4th down.
Chris goes play action and tries to get Michael Clayton in the corner. Here's Clayton working the slot. You're going to bunch up and try to pick these Saints defenders off. Clayton does a nice job running the route to the corner. A good throw by Chris. Clayton climbing the ladder, but an excellent defensive play by Fred Thomas, knocking the ball out.
Fred Thomas, 9th year out of Tennessee Martin, getting that arm up there and separating Clayton from the football. And you know, Clayton would have loved to have scored right there. 75 tickets he had to purchase. Then our producer, Greg Scopatoni, gave him 4 more, so he's got 79 family members here at the game today, and friends as well. And John Gruden may be asking them to take another look at this one.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass being challenged by Tampa Bay.
All right, John Gruden wondering whether or not, in fact, Michael Clayton got both feet down, which would indicate a touchdown for the Buccaneers. He's already won 1 challenge today. Looking for a 2nd one right here. We'll take a break, come right back, find out whether or not he's 2 for 2. Referee Mike Carey taking a 2nd look. John Gruden with a challenge. The pass was ruled incomplete in the end zone to Michael Clayton. And this is either going to be touchdown Bucs or incomplete pass and 4th down. Mike Carey coming up with a verdict right here.
The receiver, while airborne, had control of the ball, came down with 1 foot inbounds, then his butt hit inbounds, but then he lost control of the ball after going to the ground on his own. Therefore, the pass is incomplete. Tampa Bay will be charged with their first.
Well, apparently, according to Mike Carey, you need to get more than a foot and a butt down to make it count as a touchdown.
Again, I think it's the right call by John Gruden to challenge that thing. It looked like both feet were down, the butt came down, and then the ball came out. You know, the interesting thing here, though, is you have to win both of your challenges to keep your challenges. And he challenged the fumble early, which was overturned. But, you know, with 7:08 to go in the first quarter, and you're out of challenges, that may play a role in this ball game as we get going.
Yeah, under the new rule, had they won that challenge, they would have been awarded another as long as they have a timeout. On the sidelines, you see Sims and Clayton talking over there. They're hoping that those two are going to team up for a long, long time.
Well, a good start by Chris Sims, and the concern that I had for Chris was trying to do too much in this ball game, and he settled in nicely. They ran the ball well. The play actions were good. He's seeing the field well, throwing the ball on time. Not trying to do too much, just playing quarterback in the offense, and that's what he needs to do today.
Well, again, keep in mind that this is a team that has only scored 3 points in the first quarter all year. They've not been getting off to good starts. They got a chance to pick up 3 in Chris Sims' first drive right here as Martin Gramatica comes on to attempt the field goal. And he sends it up and through, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do in fact jump out to a 3-0 lead in this football game. We will take a break. 7:05 to go in the first quarter. Tampa Bay 3, New Orleans nothing. Saints will get it back when we come back. All right, back at the Superdome. Saints now trailing the Bucs by a score of 3-0. Chris Sims coming up with a field goal in his first drive as a starter in the National Football League. Saints will get it back momentarily. Michael Lewis back deep. And he is always dangerous anytime he gets his hands on the football, either as a return man or as a receiver out there working with Aaron Brooks. Gramatica to kick it off, and does. It's a high kick. Taken by one of the up men at the 22, taken down at the 29-yard line. Lamont Hall with the return. And don't forget, we got you covered all day long with National Football League action. Then coming up a little bit later tonight, baseball action. And how about the job that Jose Lima did for the Los Angeles Dodgers last night, and keeping their hopes alive against the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinals still up in that series, 2-1, but the Dodgers looked terrific last night, and Lima came up big when they needed it. Tonight they'll look for something out of Odalis Perez, who did not pitch well in his first outing in this series. Jeff Suppan trying to close it out for the Cardinals.
Great time of year, isn't it, Dan?
Absolutely. A lot going on. Sports fans' dream. Right now, Saints trying to get something going. Aaron Brooks gives it to McAllister. McAllister finds a hole over the right side across the 35 to the 36. Dwight Smith takes him down, but not before Deuce can pick up 7.
Dan, pretty easy to see what New Orleans is trying to do with their game plan. Number 26, Deuce McAllister, north and south, just trying to hammer this Tampa Bay defense. Deuce has the high ankle sprain. You're going to see him running over safeties a lot today. Not a lot of east-west running for him. And this is what Tampa Bay is vulnerable. They're fast, they're quick, they're athletic, but are they strong enough to hold up against this run?
2nd down and 2. McAllister gets a breather. Aaron Stecker checks in as a running back for the Saints. Started the last 2 games in place of McAllister. Brooks looking for Boo Williams as tight end. Crossed the 50 down at the 45. Incomplete. Wanted a call on Dwight Smith, but he's not going to get it.
I like what they're doing here on offense. Hammer the ball and then go play action. You see Boo Williams on the left side of your screen. He's running the corner route. Dwight Smith, their strong safety, used to be a cornerback. Excellent cover guy. Boo Williams had him there. Aaron Brooks a little high with the throw.
Dwight Smith giving up some size right there. Boo Williams 6'4", Dwight Smith 5'10". 3rd down and 2 now. The Saints trying to keep this drive alive. 3 receivers in as Brooks works out of the shotgun. Brooks gets the ball, but before he can get the play off, looks like the Saints may have moved a bit too early.
False start. Offense, number 82. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Well, Mike Carey has been busy, and if there's one thing that has hurt the Saints, it has been these false start calls that have hurt their drives over and over this year.
Yeah, the pre-snap penalties. This one's on Boo Williams. You see him right here on the bottom of your screen. They've had some problems with their tackles, hearing in these 3rd down situations. They had 5 false start penalties last week. Not a good way to start. You go from 3rd and 2 to 3rd and 7. Becomes a completely different offensive call for the Saints.
Well, the Saints have been brutal on 3rd down this year, worst in the NFL. Brooks trying to do something about that here. Throws to Stecker underneath, nowhere to go, and down he goes, short of the 1st down. Gains 5, but that's not enough, and they'll have to punt it away. Derek Brooks coming up to make the stop. And hang on just a second, tempers flaring down on the field.
No love lost between these 2 teams. They play each other twice a year, and they're getting it on pretty early here.
Well, they both understand how important a victory is. The Saints understand that they have enough talent on this team to be in the playoffs, and to do that, you got to get in the playoff chase. They're sitting at 2-2 right now. The Buccaneers at 0-4 are not accustomed to that at all.
Rondé Barber around the pile. Looks like LaCharles Bentley hitting him a little late, and Rondé's a fighter. I don't know if it's a good idea to be messing around with the big man in there, but they got a lot of fight in this Tampa Bay team. And again, no love lost between these 2 guys. They know each other all too well, and sometimes fisticuffs break out, as they say, Dan.
Talk about moving up in weight divisions. You're supposed to gain the weight when you move up in your divisions.
Absolutely.
Rondé Barber giving up a lot of size right there. Mitch Berger on to punt it away, and once again, it looks like the Bucs moved. Excuse me, the Saints.
Offense number 40. 5-yard penalty is still 4th down.
It's really amazing. I mean, you can make some excuses for false start penalties happening on the road, but you know, to have 2 of them in the 1st quarter, 1 of them on a punt, you know, pretty interesting. Something that Jim Haslett tried to address this week in practice. I think he's arguing that the Bucs players tried to draw the Saints guys offside. Maybe a good argument, but they got to rectify those problems.
Berger gets the punt away. Tim Brown back deep for the Buccaneers, calls for a fair catch, makes it at about the 16-yard line. That's where Tampa Bay will take over. 53-yard punt pins the Bucs back deep, but they're leading by a score of 3-0. Now Chris Sims and the Buccaneers will begin this drive from their own 16, leading by a score of 3-0. Chris, of course, the son of Phil Sims, terrific quarterback for the New York Giants for 15 years, Super Bowl MVP in Super Bowl 21. Called his father on Monday, told him he was getting the start, talked to the whole family, and as you can imagine, they were extremely happy for him, but he said Dad will also be nervous today.
Yeah, he sure will. Phil was such a cool player, but I think he's a nervous dad. Chris has played really well so far. Nice first series for him.
2 tight ends in for the Bucs. Pittman the back, right in behind Sims, and he'll get the call. Trying the right side, not much there. Taken down right at the 15. Charles Grant making the stop.
You know, a lot of stuff going on in Chris's head, making his first start. And this offense isn't easy. Example of a play. This is sort of a basic play that John Gruden has. Dummy cadence on 1. Green right slot. 93 Buster, candid with 96 Seattle, alert for Indian. 3 different play options for Chris. Very wordy, not easy to do. And John Gruden will speak this offense fast. Sometimes he gets Chris a little nervous, and he gets going maybe a little bit too fast. Chris has been cool so far.
As we told you, of course, Jason Garrett was in camp with the Bucs during the preseason. Throw out to Charles Lee is good out across the 25 to the 26-yard line. Very close to a first down, gain of 9.
I like the mix by John Gruden, running on first down, a high percentage pass on second down. Look at Charles Lee working right here. They call it a little stick route. It's a 5-yard out. Chris, a 3-step drop, delivers it on time. The Saints defensive line can rush the passer. 3-step drops will help the Bucs up front.
Well, they came up just short of the first down. It's going to bring up 3rd down and 1. Mike Allstott is the deep back behind Sims. Greg Camella's the up back. You figure they're going to bring the big guy here, and they do. Allstott dives across the 25. Needed to get out to the 26. It's going to be very close. It'll depend on the mark and how much forward progress they give him.
Good penetration by the defensive line of the Saints, forcing Mike Allstott to go over the top. You don't like to do that in this situation. I think he might have had enough, though. I think we're going to get a measurement here, Dan.
Well, as we said, the sticks are right at about the 26-yard line.
Excellent penetration. They stay down, they stay low, and here goes Mike Allstott. Forward progress seems to stop. Falling forward, inching forward. I think they got the first down, though.
Well, they will, in fact, give him the first down. It'll be 1st down and 10 as the Bucs keep the drive alive. Mike Allstott now in his 9th year. Still in the game, now moves to the up back position. Michael Pittman shifts out of the backfield, wide receiver on the right side. Sims to pass on 1st down. Pocket holds, looks, throws, got to complete to Clayton across the 40 to the 45, out to the 46-yard line to Bucky Jones with a stop, gain of 21. Bucs have it with a 3-0 lead right here. Right now, let's swing it to L.A. and a game break with James Brown.
Hey, Dan, capping a 12-play, 80-yard drive. Take a look at how easy Minnesota makes this look. Culpepper, a slant pattern to Randy Moss. 6th touchdown reception of the season for Moss that ties him with league leader Terrell Owens. 7-0 Minnesota. Back to Dan Miller and Jason Garrett.
All right, JB, thank you very much. Right here, it's the Bucs up 3-zip. Michael Pittman and Jamel White into the game. Now it's White split out the right side in the wide receiver position. Sims with a give to Pittman, trying to get the corner on the left side. Saints do a great job of stringing it out. James Allen forces him out of bounds. Gain of 1. It'll bring up 2nd down and 9.
They sure do, and I'm not so sure this is the right kind of call against this Saints defense. They run the stretch play to the left-hand side, and the Saints defense can run. There's a lot of guys reaching here, trying to block those guys, but they get Michael Clayton, they get Michael Pittman going east and west. James Allen can run. If I'm John Gruden, I hammer a little bit more, run north and south at this Saints defense.
Well, he said he was not going to shrink the game plan for Chris Sims. We've seen Sims do a good job of directing things so far for Tampa Bay. Clayton in motion, Sims back to pass again. Pump fake, roll it out of the pocket, gets it to Allstott across midfield. They're going to say he was down at the 48 before the ball came loose. Derek Rogers makes the stop, but a gain of 4.
And those are the kind of plays that Chris needs to make. Obviously, with the pump fake, Tampa Bay is trying to get the ball down the field. There's nothing there, though. Chris gets a little pressure in his face, so you find your check down. Mike Allstott's sitting there. He's got protection first, and he's going to show up right over here. Chris gets his eyes down, finds the check down. You got to make completions. You got to get yourself into manageable 3rd down situations. Chris did that right there.
3rd down and 5 for the Buccaneers. Inside the final minute of the 1st quarter. That's Lee in motion. Sims back to pass. Pressure comes. Down he goes. Sack, ball came loose. Saints scrambling for it. Did they come up with a turnover they were looking for? You bet. Saints football.
Dan, the strength of this Saints defense is their defensive line. Number 91 is their 1st-round pick out of Ohio State, Will Smith. A lot of pressure on Chris Sims.
There is a flag on the play, so we'll have to wait until they sort things out. Right now, the Saints have the football. Chris Sims walked off the field holding his left arm. You see him there on the sidelines.
The sack fumble is what he's trying to avoid. Bad plays are okay. Disastrous plays are not. hard to hold up on a 7-step drop. This offensive line, there's a lot of good defensive linemen, a lot of good pass rushers for the Saints. That time, Will Smith getting to Chris Sims, making a big play for the Saints on defense.
Keep an eye on big number 91, Will
After
Smith,
the play
right
was
here.
over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 91 of the defense. They retain possession. However, 15 yards will be assessed. First down.
Looks like Chris Sims got his left elbow and shoulder trapped up underneath his body. Will Smith, very active guy, making an inside move on Todd Stussy and getting to Sims.
Well, Brian Greasy is the number 2 quarterback this week. Brad Johnson demoted his starter all the way down to number 3. If, in fact, they need to make a change at quarterback, Greasy would be the guy, unless they chose to go to Johnson, in which case you couldn't go to either of the first 2 after that.
Absolutely, and that's the danger right there. The third quarterback can only play in the 4th quarter. If he plays earlier than that, the other guys cannot play. So it's a high-risk situation. You have to go to Greasy in this situation. So if something does happen to him, you still have a quarterback, Brad Johnson, who can go into the ball game.
Well, we'll get a report from the sidelines just as soon as we can on the condition of Chris Sims. Bottom line, though, a fumble. The Saints have the football, trailing 3-0 with 43 seconds to go here in the first quarter. McAllister, the deep back, gets the call, trying the left side. Not much room there, stacked up right at the line of scrimmage. Jeff Gooch coming up from his outside linebacker position to make the stop.
Dan, that is not what you want to do against this Tampa Bay defense. You do not want to run east and west. Number 26 has to go north and south. Once you start running to the sidelines, they all run too well. All 11 guys on that Tampa defense can run. They run fast, they're quick, they're athletic. You got to try to hammer them between the tackles.
Well, that's going to be the last play of the first quarter. A Martin Gramatica field goal, the only scoring of the first quarter here. Saints have it back, though, after the turnover, and they're hoping to get things turned around, trailing by a score of 3-0 here at the Superdome in Louisiana. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. McAllister out towards midfield, taken down at the 49-yard line, but flags everywhere after a gain of 7. Greg Spires may have been caught offsides.
Offside defense, number 94. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
This Buck defense is very aggressive. Ron Marinelli, the defensive line coach, preaches getting off the football. You have to use the hard count against him. Aaron Brooks, good job there, getting him back into a second and manageable situation.
All right, for the latest on Chris Sims, let's get down to the sidelines and Eric Clemens. Eric, what's going on?
All right, guys, Chris Sims has been trying to walk it off, shake it off. You know, he's a big, tough kid out of the University of Texas, but he tried to throw a football just a second ago. Could not. He waved everything off. He's still trying to walk around on the sidelines. Right now, they tell us he's injured his left shoulder. His return is questionable, guys.
All right, thank you, Eric. Looks like we will, in fact, see Brian Greasy. Second down at 6. Nothing there for the Bucs.
Not running, and it's too low. Ball 4.
Play in the backfield. One thing about these corners, both Brian Kelly and Rondé Barber, very active. They're good in pass coverage, but very active in run defense. When you have 11 guys running to the football like this Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense does, you got a great chance to be successful.
Third down and 6 for the Saints, trying to keep this drive alive and get something on the scoreboard, trailing here 3-0. We approach the 14-minute mark in the second quarter. Brooks from the shotgun. Pocket holds, throws over the middle. He's got it complete to his tight end, Boo Williams, and he's got the first down. Williams to the 45, gain of 8. That's what's happening here. Let's go to L.A. right now and find out what else is happening around the league. JB, what's up?
Hey, Dan, Vinny Testaverde, unsuccessful to Keyshawn the first time, goes back to him again. Terry Bradshaw says, well-placed pass to the outside. Only Keyshawn could get it. His first touchdown reception as a Cowboy. They're on top of the Giants by 4. Back to Dan and Jason.
All right, JB, thank you very much. Cowboys getting it done right there. Bucs leading the Saints here. New Orleans with it in Tampa Bay territory. Deuce McAllister, who did get the start today after missing 2 consecutive games, is stacked up at the line by Simeon Rice.
There's a glimpse right there. I don't think Deuce Staley's 100%. I mean, here's a guy who can cut on a dime. A little bit of he had the high ankle sprain coming into this game, and he just isn't the same guy right now. He has to run north and south, can't make those cuts as well as he has so far. Deuce McAllister, 6 carries.
Now Craig Biggio, the leadoff man. And Biggio hit 24 home runs this year. And the crowd's still on its feet here.
45 and gets down to the 44-yard line, and a nice shot in there on Brian Kelly. That was just man on man. It looked like Stecker may have gotten the best of that one.
They all run and they all hit. Again, you don't want to go east and west against this Tampa Bay team. They throw the little wide route. Here comes Stecker out to the right-hand side. Brian Kelly comes up. They all can run. Look at Derek Brooks. Here comes Brian Kelly. Pretty good blow by Aaron Stecker. Only a 1-yard gain, though, for New Orleans.
And Stecker certainly looking forward to playing against his former team. Came over as a free agent during the offseason. He'll remain in the game right now on 3rd down and 9. And as the play clock winds down, the fact that the Saints come into this game last in the NFL on 3rd down conversions, facing a 3rd down and 8 right here. Brooks again will go from the shotgun. 3 receivers in the game. Brooks has got some time, throws over the middle, incomplete, looking for Jerome Pathon. That'll bring up 4th down. Trying to wedge it in between a couple of defenders right here. Not going to do it. Tampa Bay had that one well defensed. So Tampa Bay will get the ball back. Tim Brown, the veteran, back to receive his 3rd punt of the day. Calls for a fair catch, makes it at the 8-yard line, and John Gruden told us, hey, if Tim Brown doesn't have a lot of room, he'll be calling fair catch back there. Bucs leading 3-zip. We'll be right back. Now, Chris Sims knocked out of the game with an injury. Brian Greasy comes in to take over at quarterback. Brad Johnson, who had been the starter in Tampa and the man that led them to a Super Bowl championship 2 years ago, remains on the bench. Mike Allstott with a carry, not much there, stacked up right at the line. Jason, let's talk about that. Interesting decision for John Gruden that not only does he demote Brad Johnson, but takes him all the way down to 3rd string.
Yeah, and I think Coach Gruden sort of ducked the question when we asked him last night, but I think his real reason for putting Brad as the 3rd guy, it's an emotional week. Brad's been the starter of this team for the last 4 years, and it's emotional for him, and a lot of stuff that he went through on Monday and Tuesday with this decision to start Chris. And I think Brian's been in this backup situation all year long. I just think he wanted to let Brad sort of have a week off, maintain the backup rhythm that Brian had coming into this ball game.
2nd down and 9 for Greasy. Flags everywhere. It looked like Derek Deese may have moved.
Offense number 70. 5-yard penalty. In this case, half the distance to the goal. Still 2nd down.
You know, a couple things going on there, Dan. You know, Derek Deese, he's got his hands full. I mean, they rushed the passer so well in New Orleans. He's playing in a foreign, you know, on the road here. It's a dome. These defensive ends have a huge advantage. And then you have the 3rd different cadence that you've heard in 5 days. So, you know, a lot of stuff going on for Derek Deese. The offensive line really has to have some discipline in handling the snap count, particularly early in this ball game.
Also a change on the offensive line. Number 67, Kenyatta Walker, is checked in for Todd Stussy. Greasy back into his own end zone to pass. Gets it out to Michael Pittman. Not much room for him. Stacked up at the line of scrimmage. Nothing there. That'll bring up 3rd down. So if you're buying Greasy, Jason, you can relate as a quarterback. Your first drive starts out inside your own 10-yard line. That's not a real way to get comfortable.
It's tough. And, you know, we talked about how fast the Bucs are on defense. The Saints have a lot of great athletes on defense. They can run. The down guys can run. The linebackers can run. On your 3rd play of the game, you're standing in the shadow of the opponent's goalpost. Not easy to do. Brian's played a lot of football, though, in his life. University of Michigan, the starting quarterback of the Broncos. He's been in these situations. He'll be fine.
They're standing at the Superdome, trying to help this Saints defense make a play. They'll give it on the draw to Pittman. Gets positive yardage out to the 10, but not enough for the 1st down. Cedric Hodge, in his first game back after sitting out 4 games for violating the league's substance abuse policy, makes the stop.
It's important right there as a quarterback that you don't make a big error that turns the game. You run the offense, you complete the screen, you handle the snap, you hand it off. Let's punt the ball. Let's put it back in our defense a little bit and allow Brian in this offense to get comfortable and get their feet wet.
Well, Mitch Berger comes on to punt it away. And the play clock is winding down. Tampa Bay might have to use a timeout here. They're going to have to. There's only 6 seconds left on the play clock. There's a mix-up on the sideline there, as you can see.
He's going to let it go all the way down. I think a good move by John Gruden not calling the timeout right there.
Delay. Offense. 5-yard penalty. still 4th down.
Well, the only downside of that is now you're snapping the ball from your 5 instead of your 10-yard line, and you're backing your punter up even further into the end zone.
Yeah, you get close to the back of that end line, but you know, a lot of times players just start calling timeout when things go wrong. Sometimes it's okay to take the 5 yards if they protect well in this situation. Although the Saints did have 2 blocked punts last week against Arizona, so it's really important for Tampa Bay to be on their toes with this protection here.
Well, if you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right here, you can ill afford a mistake. Josh Bidwell, here's my advice: don't look back, look forward. Gets it away. Michael Lewis back deep. Flag. Hang on a second. No play.
Delay. Offense. Half the distance to the goal. Still 4th down.
Well, I tell you what, John Gruden told us yesterday that this 0-4 start has been humiliating, and I know they're winning this game 3-0 right now, but these are not mistakes that are characteristic of a John Gruden team.
Well, these mistakes are characteristic of an 0-4 team, though. You know, you make the pre-snap penalties, you have problems with substitution. These are hard situations to overcome, and now we talk about it. Now it's only a 12-yard snap. Josh Bidwell heels in the back end of the goal line. He gets it out of there.
Able to get it off. Michael Lewis back deep for the Saints. He'll field it at the 50-yard line. And here comes Lewis at the 45, trying to get the corner. Almost does. Driven out at the 39-yard line by Dwight Smith. 48-yard punt, 10-yard return. And the Saints are going to have it in great field position, trailing by a score of 3-0 here at the Superdome. Jim Haslett, head coach of the Saints, Monty Kiffin, defensive coordinator of the Bucs. Their paths have crossed many times throughout the years.
They sure have. When Jim Haslett was a linebacker with the Buffalo Bills, Monty Kiffin was his linebacker coach. They coached together here with the Saints. And Monty Kiffin said right away, I knew Jim Haslett was going to be a head coach in this league. He just had it as a player.
Said he's known 2 of the players that he's had over the years were going to be great coaches. One was Jim Haslett, the other Jack Del Rio. Deuce McAllister, a pretty darn good running back, finding a hole right there, but the ball comes loose. Down around the 20-yard line. We'll have to see who's got it at the bottom of that pile. Deuce McAllister with a big run for the Saints. And in fact, they're able to recover. It looked like Dante Stallworth may have gotten on top of it. Dwight Smith had pried it loose.
And Monty Kiffin told us that Haslett's going to say they're going to hammer the football this week. And one more time, it's Deuce McAllister running north and south, forcing Dwight Smith to come up and make a tackle. Dwight, a nice job flipping that ball out, but a lot of black shirts around it, hustling to the football. Another big play for New Orleans.
You make the great point right there, Jason, which is not to take the play off once you see it going the other direction. Everybody running towards the ball, and that helped him recover the fumble. McAllister stutter steps at the line, dives inside the 20, down to the 17. Well, we mentioned the fact that Jim Haslett had in fact played for Monty Kiffin when Kiffin was the linebackers coach in Buffalo. Haslett was a 2nd-round pick by the Buffalo Bills, earned all rookie honors, AP Rookie of the Year, played for the Bills from 1979 to 1985 at the linebacker position. Chasing down Richard Todd.
He sure is, and you know, I think he coaches a lot like he plays. He's a hard-nosed guy. He's a smart football player. He's a smart football coach. He's tough. He's emotional, and I think the Saints team reflects his personality in a lot of ways.
2nd down and 7. Play action fake. Brooks back looking left side. Got Boo Williams. Touchdown Saints.
Dan, that's what happens when you run the football. Saints come back with play action, and Boo Williams was a wide receiver in college. This guy really can run from the tight end position. We saw him earlier try to get the corner out. This time they come right back with it. Again, he beats the Tampa Bay secondary. A big scoring strike for New Orleans.
17 yards on the play, and the Saints are on the scoreboard. Leading in this one by a score of 6-3 with the extra point coming up right here by John Carney. Spot down kick is up, and it is good. So the Saints tack on a touchdown. They now lead in this game by a score of 7-3 for Boo Williams, his first touchdown of the season, and it's a big one because it put the Saints on top.
Underwear.
All right, back at the Superdome, they call him Holy Moses, and he's a happy man right now. 3 plays, 40 yards. Saints score a touchdown. Boo Williams got it done right there. on the receiving end of a pass from Aaron Brooks.
Boo Williams was a former receiver in college, and boy, he really can run from that tight end position. Running the corner route, he just ran up on Dwight Smith, who's an excellent, excellent cover safety. Aaron Brooks delivered a strike.
John Carney set to kick it away. Torrey Cox back deep for the Buccaneers, takes it at his 3, grabs the ball after dropping it across the 20 to the 23-yard line. This is one problem that the Buccaneers have faced in the return game after Frank Murphy went out. But let's go back to that touchdown. And right now, solid patience right here by Aaron Brooks, waiting for this to develop.
Boo Williams running the corner route, and he's going to isolate on Dwight Smith. Dwight Smith has no help to the outside. A little inside move. Dwight jumps on it. Again, Aaron Brooks throws a strike, but an excellent route by the tight end, Boo Williams. Good protection there for Brooks as well. The Saints lead in this game now by a score of 7-3. 7:13 to go, second quarter. Brian Griese in for the injured Chris Sims. Griese throws for Charles Lee, got him across the 40 to the 41-yard line. That'll be enough for a first down for the Bucs. 17 yards on the play. You know, Dan, the easiest down to throw on is 1st and 10. I like the call by John Gruden, play action. You get the isolated comeback outside. Well, coming up, game 2 of our doubleheader. Some of you will see the Rams and the Seahawks. How about the start the Seahawks are off to? Pretty darn good. Well, getting it done with 2 wins on the road to start the season. I think that was huge for that team. 2 talented quarterbacks that can put some points on the board too. That's going to be a fun one to watch. So stay tuned for game 2 of our doubleheader. Griese back to pass again on first down, looking for Clayton. Got him inside Saint territory, down to the 41-yard line. Fred Thomas on the coverage, but not before the rookie can make the reception at an 18-yard gain. Brian Griese has been in these situations before, and I like what he's doing. The 2 playmaking guys on this offense are Charles Lee and Michael Clayton. Charles Lee runs the comeback on first down. He comes back, a little seam route to Clayton, delivers a strike. A nice route by Michael Clayton, getting back inside on Fred Thomas. Brian Griese is right there with the throw. Bucs come with 4 receivers, but instead they give it right up the middle to Michael Pittman. So trying to spread him out a little bit there and give Pittman some room to operate. And we've seen John Gruden do that throughout this ball game. Use your personnel, bring some receivers in, spread the defense, and then hammer them with the run. Gain of 4 to bring up 2nd down and 6. And one thing about John Gruden and this team during this 4-game losing streak, which is 6 dating back to last year, they haven't been getting blown out. They've been tight games. They just haven't come up with the big plays when they needed them. Try to make some plays right here. Mike Alstott alone back behind Brian Griese. Griese looking left and throwing out there incomplete. Wanted his tight end Will Heller. Had it for a second, but lost it. Orlando Ruff in coverage for New Orleans. Again, we talked about how active the Bucs are on defense. The Saints linebackers can run. Orlando Ruff starting this week. Courtney Watson out from last week. And Orlando Ruff's a guy who's played, particularly a special teams guy here with New Orleans, but they're happy with him. He brings some toughness, some veteran leadership to this defense. A good play right there. 3rd down and 6. Brian Griese so far today, 3 out of 4 for 35 yards since coming in for Chris Sims. Pittman and Alstott behind him. Flags fly, no play. We'll have to see if the Bucs jumped or the Saints were a little too anxious.
False start. Offense, number 89. 5-yard penalty is still 3rd down.
False start called on tight end Will Heller right there. And again, that'll cost him 5 yards. Mistakes hurting this football team today. Yeah, it just changes your 3rd down call. You go from 3rd and short to now it's 3rd and over 10 yards. These are hard 3rd downs to make. And, Will Heller's the guy that's really got to hang in there and really play mistake-free. Not easy in this environment, getting off on the proper snap count, but you got to have that kind of discipline before the snap. 3 receivers in the game, Clayton, Lee, and Brown for Tampa Bay. Pittman alone back behind Griese, who's going to pass. Pressure comes, got to step up in the pocket, throws it out complete to Tim Brown at the 35-yard line, but he's going to be short of the first down. It's going to bring up 4th down. Gain of 6. Charles Grant providing some pressure on the outside, but Brian Griese, he's been in these situations before. He climbs the pocket. He finds Tim Brown. Watch Charles Grant coming on the outside here. Brian gets his drop, steps up inside, keeps his eyes down the field,
and those 5 yards are valuable. Martin Gramatica really appreciates them. Becomes a little bit of a different kick for him.
Well, it's going to be a 54-yard attempt for Martin Gramatica. His long this year has been 47. His career long is 55, so he's approaching that right here. Now they move it up a yard. It's going to be a 53-yard attempt. Gramatica puts his foot into it, sends it on its way. It's up, and it is good. So Martin Gramatica cashes in for the Buccaneers, and they pull back within 1 in this game. Saints leading 7-6 after the 53-yard field goal.
You know, Dan, there are a lot of little plays that happen in a ball game, and that 3rd down completion to Tim Brown by Brian Greasy is one of those big ones. You climb the pocket a little bit, you make that little 5-yard completion. Doesn't really seem to mean much. It puts the Bucs in field goal range. Martin Gramatica comes in and makes a big kick. And that's a big drive for them. Brian Greasy getting off the snide.
Well, tonight, Fox Sports month-long journey, providing us with some of sports' greatest moments, continues Game 4 of the NLDS between the Cardinals and the Dodgers. Los Angeles trying to win a 2nd straight game at home and force a decisive 5th game back in St. Louis. Cardinals, meanwhile, trying to advance to the NLCS. It all continues tonight, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, right here on Fox. So they say those Dodger fans can be a little laid back at Chavez Ravine. They were all Jose Lima last night. They were jumping around like crazy. Nobody was laid back. That was fun to watch.
It sure was. A lot of emotion out there in Southern California. I'll tell you what. It's hard to do that, Daniel. There's a lot of other things going on.
Well, they saw the Angels go down. They're hoping the Dodgers can hang out a little while longer. They got to win tonight to stay alive. Gramatica with Michael Lewis back deep for the Saints. Lewis is going to take it at the 2. Back to the 10. Cuts left at the 15. Looking for some room. Spins out of 1 tackle. Goes backwards. Where's he going to go? Michael Lewis was looking for a hole. Couldn't find one. He actually lost some yardage there. Finally taken out at the 8-yard line, and a flag comes in late. Lewis had actually got up around the 15-yard line, then tried to double back, ended up getting taken out of bounds at the 8. And well after the play was over, a flag came in.
He was trying to be the human joystick. I think Jim Haslett just shaking his head on the sidelines.
Now we'll take another look. All that running Michael Lewis did to basically go about 5 yards on the return.
After the play was over, taunting on the defense, 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Well, started at the 3, got to the 15, back to the 5, got to the 7, back to the 6, and out at the 7.
You got to appreciate his persistence. But, you know, again, we talked about how does an 0-4 team play? They play like this. They run down there and make a great play on kickoff coverage, but then get a little active after the play. Looks like it was Corey Ivy, and he's one of the best special teams players on this team. And, you know, you saw a lot of white jerseys around Michael Lewis making a play, but then you give it right back with the post-play penalty. That's what 0-4 teams do.
Well, instead of pitting them back at the 8-yard line and really putting the Saints in a hole, the 15-yard penalty moves it out to the 23, and now Aaron Brooks has some room to operate, leading in this game 7-6. On the pitch out, it's Deuce McAllister, this time running right. McAllister loses the football. The Bucs pick it up. Going the other way is Rondé Barber. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. How about that for a turnaround?
Wow.
Greg Spires pried it loose. Rondé Barber picked it up. And just like that, the Saints go from being ahead in this game and looking great to falling behind.
You know, Dan, our Fox colleague Jimmy Johnson used to always say, sometimes what bothered him is not what he saw, but what he didn't see. And those are the plays we have not seen from the Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense this year. You're not going to play much better defense than Tampa has through the first 4 ball games, but we haven't seen Rondé Barber and Derek Brooks picking fumbles up and intercepting passes, running them into the end zone. These are the plays that win games for you. A great play by Greg Spires, Rondé Barber around the football. All these guys are hustling. Greg gets his hand in. Rondé finishes the play. A big play for the Bucs on defense.
Gramatica back on to try the extra point. Stunning here in New Orleans. Gramatica sends it on its way. It's up. It's good. 13-7. Bucs now leading in this game. And if you want to talk about problems, you can talk about what has hurt New Orleans this year. Take you back to last week. They got blown out by Arizona, but much of it was due to the mistakes they made.
They moved the ball on offense. They did a lot of good things throwing the football. Aaron Brooks fumbles on 4th and 1. They try a reverse. Another fumble by Dante Stallworth. Arizona runs it back in. Again, these are the plays that are going to kill you. They're backbreakers. You can make bad plays in the game. You can make sacks. You cannot run the ball well, but the plays that kill you are the sack, fumbles, return, all those kinds of plays. They change the whole complexion of the ball game, and the Saints have had a couple of them in the last couple of weeks, and they're killing them.
Well, the two different faces in this game. You saw Deuce McAllister buried his face in the towel. John Gruden just getting in a fighting mood right now for the Buccaneers as they try to battle back from this 0-4 start.
And it's a great point that Coach Johnson used to make. You know, it's not what I saw, it's what I didn't see. And you watch this Bucs defense, they play so well. I mean, they run to the football, but they weren't making any of these kind of plays. Rondé Barber and Greg Spires made one right there. These are the kind of plays that turn the game.
Well, once again, Michael Lewis back deep with the Saints as Gramatica sends it on its way. Lewis is going to come up the field this one at the 16. Running right this time and trying to run north and south instead of east and west, but not much there.
And guess who
He's
makes the tackle?
Down at the 27, Corey Ivy. Rondé Barber making the stop right there. He goes from touchdown maker to playmaker to making a tackle. So one thing this Buccaneer team did on their way to the Super Bowl, as you alluded to, that defense scored points.
They sure did. Just the image of Derek Brooks running down the sidelines and you know, Rondé Barber picking up a fumble and Dwight Smith making plays. And you know, you can play good defense, but you also have to create turnovers and make big plays. And that's what this team has been known for the last decade. They did it again today.
Well, Aaron Stecker giving Deuce McAllister a blow right here. McAllister with a fumble just a moment ago. Now he splits out of the backfield. Empty backfield for Aaron Brooks. Throws. Got it to Pathon. Pathon out to the 32-yard line. Check that. Joe Horn out to the 32-yard line. Gain of 4. It'll bring up 2nd down and 6.
Critical for Aaron Brooks to be a leader in this situation. You can't let sort of the black cloud infect your football team right now. Step back in the huddle, run the offense, try to get a little drive going against this good Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense and get some points before halftime. You got to stem the tide a little bit, and that's number 2's job as a quarterback, to be a leader, not only this offensive team, but for this whole team.
2nd down and 6 now for the Saints. Stecker is the back behind Brooks. Brooks to throw it again. Has to leave the pocket rolling, throws it, completes it to Stecker. Across the 40 to the 41-yard line. That'll be enough for a 1st down. Rondé Barber making the stop for Tampa Bay, but not before the Saints can pick up 8 yards. Let me go back to what you were saying a moment ago. There has been a black cloud over this franchise for a while, but it seems to blow in and blow out every year. And in talking with Aaron Brooks about that, he said one thing. He said there are too many guys on this team that are unprofessional and are not accountable and don't approach the game the right way. That maybe they're not giving their all in practice. They're just trying to get to the games on Sunday.
We got to remember, Dan, this is a young football team. 3 guys in the last 2 years, first-round picks have been juniors, and there's some immaturity that they've been going through.
Deuce McAllister back in, gets the call left side across the 45 to the 46-yard line. Gain of 5 on 1st down. It'll bring up 2nd down and 5. Jeff Gooch making the stop for Tampa Bay.
And back to what we were talking about, you have to be a consistent football team, and you have to be consistently getting better as the season progresses in order to be a championship team. This team tends to play well one week, not so well the next week. And, you know, in order for them to take it to the next level, to not be an 8-8, 9-7 team, they have to develop that consistency. And those young guys have to understand what it's like to be a professional and show up every day, not for the games, but also for practice.
Well, those young guys like Grant, like Sullivan, like Stallworth are going to have to learn what it takes to be productive week in and week out in the NFL. Aaron Brooks takes the snap, rolling right, trying to buy some time, being chased from behind. He's going to keep it across midfield. Finally hit right there. He's going to be short of the 1st down, it looks like. Ian Gold coming up to make the tackle for Tampa Bay. It looks like it's going to bring up 3rd down. It'll depend upon the spot.
Aaron Brooks is going to fake it to the left-hand side of his offense and come out here on the bootleg. This is what this guy does awfully well. He's a wonderful athlete, looking for a throw down the field. Not much contained by the Tampa Bay defense, but Ian Gold, all these guys can run. They're going to pursue that quarterback. Stops him just short of the 1st down.
It will, in fact, be 3rd and very short for Aaron Brooks and the Saints. Trailing now 13-7 after the big play a moment ago. Rondé Barber returning a fumble for a touchdown. Tampa Bay with its 1st lead of the day. Third down so far, Saints 1 out of 4. Gives to McAllister, got the first down as he dives into Buccaneer territory down to the 48-yard line. Gain of 2, they'll move the chains, and we will stop for the 2-minute warning. It's the Saints trailing by a score of 13-7, but they've got the football. More when we come back. All right, coming up on the Visa Halftime Show, JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will have scores and highlights from around the league, and our Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second stats. That is all coming up on the Visa Halftime Show. Nice to see Terrell Owens in there with the boys, the pregame show.
Yep.
Nice to see Billy Bob Thornton as well, and I did not know that he and Terry were that close.
Yeah, it seems like they are quite close. Friday Night Lights, can't wait to see it.
Friday Night Lights, candles in the shower. It's all talked about there.
Mike's not ready.
If you missed it, you missed a lot of fun.
It's all good out there in La La Land, isn't it, Dan?
First down and 10 for the Saints. Inside the 2-minute warning now. 1:58 to go first half. Try to get something done and get back on the scoreboard again. Brooks, left side, throws to McAllister. He's got it at midfield. Lunges forward to the 46, but a flag in the backfield. That's the general area you expect holding, and that's what we got.
Offense number 72. It's a 10-yard penalty, is still first down.
Holding called on Wayne Gandy, who was flagged twice last week for false starts. Gets called for holding right there.
Well, he's got a tough task. You know, Simeon Rice coming into this ball game, only 1 sack, but you know, there are a lot of hidden plays in the game. Watch Simeon Rice there, the top of your screen. Wayne Gandy's got his hands full with this guy. Wonderful athlete, the great inside move. He comes to the outside. You know, those are hidden plays in a game. You know, it's not a sack, but it's a 10-yard penalty. All of a sudden, the Saints are back on their own 42-yard line. Simeon making an impact.
Saints looking at a first down and 20 now. They bring 3 receivers into the game. Brooks, with an empty backfield, goes from the shotgun. Brooks has it, has to step up in the pocket. Plenty of room in the middle of the field. He'll take it, dive across the 50, down to the 48. So he got most of the penalty yardage back, but that is going to bring up second down and 10.
You know, Monty Kiffin told us they are not going to blitz Aaron Brooks today. They're getting good pressure with the front 4. Aaron Brooks, no place to throw the ball down the field, steps up in the pocket, and then just tries to get some yardage. You take a look right here, they're rushing the 4 down guys, a big cavity in here for Aaron Brooks to run the football. This is an athletic guy. He made 10 yards without even thinking about it, getting himself back in a manageable second down situation.
Well, after that game, the Saints did call a timeout. They stopped the clock with 1:43 to go.
I love this kid, Aaron Brooks. You know, a lot of controversy down here and here in New Orleans, and he's handled the leadership thing, I think, quite well. There is some immaturity on this team, but, you know, I think where you need to be a leader most at the quarterback position is on the field for 3 hours on Sunday afternoon. Big comeback a couple weeks ago against the St. Louis Rams, and this guy, if he just continues to play well in these kinds of situations, handle some adversity after a big loss, be the steadying influence on this team, he's going to take himself to the next level as a quarterback in this league.
Well, Saints 2-2 this year. In both their games, they trailed in the 4th quarter, but Brooks was able to bring them back to victory. He's done that 13 times during his career in 60 games. Not a bad percentage. He's been in some tough spots and done some good things for this team. A lot of talent here. They want to go further than they have before.
Empty backfield here, Dan.
4 receivers as well for the Saints. Whistles, flags, everything, no play. And it looks like the Saints may have jumped.
Ball start. Offense number 72. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
You know, these last 3 plays are a little bit emblematic of their season. You know, they make a good play, then they have the holding penalty. Aaron Brooks makes a good scramble. Here we go, Wayne Gandy again with a false start penalty, and it's all because of this guy right here, Simeon Rice. You're scared to death of him. He's one of the great athletes in the league, and you want to get a jump start, but he's really hurting his offense right now.
Well, both John Gruden and Monty Kiffin told us one key to their defense is that Simeon Rice has got to start making some plays. His numbers are down this year. He's still a capable football player. They need big things out of him. They're getting it right here just by intimidation. Brooks back, has some time in the pocket, but nowhere to go. Throws it out there. Great defensive play, broken up by Brian Kelly. They say Kelly is their best man-up defender. Did a terrific job right there.
Again, just a four-man rush, and they're applying pressure on Aaron Brooks. There's 7 guys dropping into the secondary. Not a lot of places to throw the football. Simeon Rice providing some pressure on Aaron Brooks one more time. Coming into this ball game, you know, only 6 tackles and 1 sack, but as you can tell, he still has a big influence on opposing offenses. He makes a lot of hidden plays that give that guy a lot of attention throughout a ball game.
Hey, there's no question, according to John Gruden, this team has lost some talent when you lose guys like Warren Sapp and John Lynch. But as he said, they're not coming back. Brooks back. Pocket collapses, got some room. Now he gets out of there, throws it. It's going to be incomplete as the ball hit the ground before Williams was able to come up with it. And that'll bring up 4th down now for the Saints.
How about that, though? Athletic play by Aaron Brooks, slipping out of a tackle. Again, one more time, good coverage down the field. See Brian Kelly working on Joe Horn. Not a lot of places to throw the football. Not a lot of places to throw the football. A lot of white shirts around those black jerseys. Aaron Brooks forced him to scramble.
Mitch Berger into punt, gets it away. Pressure was really coming in there. It's going to bounce at the 3 and back to the 5, and that's going to be down inside the 5-yard line by the Saints. So the Bucs are going to be backed up here late in the first half with 1:16 to go.
Another flag here, Dan.
We'll wait and see what the exact call is there. There was some contact with Berger. It looked like on the punt, but no call back behind the line of scrimmage.
Illegal catching on the kicking team number 35. Went out of bounds with the first to touch the kick. It's a 5-yard penalty. Replay 4th down.
So here we go again. Penalty against the Saints, and they will have to punt it one more time. Penalty called there on Fakir Brown on special teams. Discussing it with head coach Jim Haslett.
I think both of these teams are victims of players trying to do too much and trying to make too many plays. I mean, a lot of times you have to let the game come to you, and you know, guys want to have a positive impact. Guys want to do something to make a difference in the game, but oftentimes that causes you to press a little bit, and you make those false start penalties. You make those unnecessary penalties during the play.
So they'll back it up from the 46 to the 41, and Mitch Berger will punt it again. Tim Brown back deep for Tampa Bay. 1:16 to go in the first half. Berger, good punt, turns over. Brown backs up inside his 10 and let it bounce right there.
How about
and what a great bounce for the Saints and Mitch Berger. It's going to die at the 7-yard line. And there's another flag out on the field, so hang on just a second. We may get to do this a 3rd time. I'll tell you what, those are 2 great punts by Mitch Berger. 52 yards right there. But both of them, in essence, died inside the 10-yard line.
It's like you with your sand wedge, Dan.
Thank you very much.
Sucking it back.
Half that statement was right. Well, once again, we'll let the officials sort this out. Mike Carey will tell us exactly what's going on with the flag.
During the kick, illegal block on the back by the receiving team number 27. Half the distance to the goal, they retain possession. 1st down.
It'll be interesting to see what John Gruden does in this situation. He's got his 3rd quarterback in the ball game right now. A little over a minute to go in the half. As we take a look at Brad Johnson. Brian Greasy is playing. Brad Johnson over the last 13 games have not been real good. Previous 13 games, including the Super Bowl win in January of 2003, 29 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. 3 new offensive starters on the offensive line, a completely revamped wide receiver core through the first 4 games of the season. Not the perfect environment to play quarterback in for Brad Johnson over the first month of the season.
Well, Buccaneers are just going to take a knee right here with 1:01 to go, not wanting to risk anything, leading in this game by a score of 13-7.
And I like the decision by John Gruden. Hard to make 97 yards in a minute with 1 timeout. I think they played well in this first half. You go in, you take that 6-point lead. You try to figure out what you want to do in the second half. You stop the bleeding a little bit. 0-4 coming into this game. You got to feel pretty good leading 13-7 at halftime in their place.
The Bucs did what they told us they wanted to do. They've been playing good defense. They said they needed a big play that could help turn a game around. They certainly got it on the fumble return for a touchdown by Rondé Barber. with that, both teams will head for the locker room with the Bucs leading by a score of 13-7. Jim Haslett's team down by 6. They will have to come back in the second half and try to figure out some way to get their offense going a little bit, to get that passing game going, to get Deuce McAllister going. They haven't had Deuce McAllister in a couple weeks, but they also haven't been able to get both sides of that offense going at the same time yet this year.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is to eliminate some of the mistakes, the false start penalties, the holding penalties. They're getting out of rhythm on offense. They're having some hard down and distance situations. Start running the ball with Deuce and let Aaron do his thing.
All right, that's the end of the first half with the score. The Bucs 13 and the Saints 7. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages and a word from your local Fox station.
Corner out, 7-3 New Orleans over Tampa Bay. And then McAllister, Deuce back after a couple of weeks off. He's fumbled the ball, forced out by Greg Spires. Rondé Barber returns this one 8.
For a touchdown. In terms of individuals, if you were talking fantasy, Brian Greasy, who came on for the injured Chris Sims, 4 out of 5 for 41 yards. Michael Pittman, 8 carries, 25 yards. Deuce McAllister back, coughed it up a couple of times, 12 carries, 46 yards. Michael Clayton, terrific rookie at LSU, 2 for 39.
And I think the other story is I think Chris Sims played well. I think Brian Greasy has stepped in and played well. Both those backup quarterbacks in Tampa stepping in and doing their job.
All right, for the latest in fantasy stats, log on to foxsports.com. As we mentioned, Chris Sims left the game early with a shoulder injury. Brian Greasy has been in there ever since at quarterback for the Buccaneers. Tampa Bay will get it first here in the second half. Torrey Cox back to take the kick, takes it at his own 3, back to 15-20. Cox across the 25 and across the 30, and that's where the Bucs will take over with the first possession here in the second half, leading by a score of 13-7.
Dan, I think the formula for Tampa Bay on offense has to be the same. Get Michael Pittman involved in the running game, play action, some boots for Brian Greasy off of that strong run game, and get a little rhythm for number 8.
Greasy didn't have much in the way of field position there in the first half. First position he came in, he was backed up inside the 10-yard line. Right now he's got Michael Pittman as the lone back behind him on 1st down and 10 as we get underway here in the third quarter. Bucs up by 6, looking for their first victory of the year.
Brian Greasy audibling right there.
Nowhere to go for Greasy as he's taken down at the 23-yard line. That'll be a loss on the play. Let's go down to the sidelines and Eric Clemens.
All right, guys, I talked to Jim Haslett coming back onto the field. He said the game plan for the second half is pretty simple. We got to stick with the game plan, run it at them, hold on to the football. Neither team is surprising the other, so we all know the game plan. We just got to hold on to the football and eliminate mistakes. Still no update on Chris Sims. All we know, left shoulder injury. He's been taken into the locker room for x-rays. Guys?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. 2nd down 15 now after the 5-yard loss on 1st down for the Bucs. Greasy with the give to Pittman, cuts it back, looking for room, got a little bit, dives out to the 28, still short of the original line of scrimmage. Jonathan Sullivan, 1st-round pick back in 2002, making the stop for the Saints.
And these are the situations that Brian Greasy and the Tampa Bay Buccaneer offense, they want to stay out of. You don't want to be in 3rd and 11. The passer in 3rd and 12.
Looking at a 3rd and 12 right now. Greasy with 2 backs behind him, Pittman and Allstott. Back in the pocket, looking left side, throws to Clayton, got him 1st down at the 43-yard line. Nice connection there between Greasy and the rookie out of LSU, Fred Thomas, in coverage, and staying down on the field after the play. Gain of 16.
Michael Clayton has become the go-to guy.
6. You know, that's a blow to his.
A lot of room to throw, and there's Michael Clayton. We've been talking about him all day. He's a great finisher. Boy, he's really played well through the first 5 ball games of this season. He's going to be a star in this league.
I tell you what, he shows the poise of somebody who's been around for a while. It does not look like a rookie out there.
You know, you talk about guys who are football players. You hear that expression a lot. Oh, he's a football player. In a lot of ways, it's a euphemism for a guy who's not that talented. Michael Clayton's awfully talented.
Got a lot of family and friends here, too. 75 tickets he had to find for this game. Got a break. We'll come right back.
Sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 39.
Back in New Orleans, Michael Lewis and the Saints leading, check that, trailing Tampa Bay 13-7 right now. Fred Thomas up and walking off the field under his own power. Cornerback stayed down after that completion a moment ago. Greasy on first down, throws left side. He's got Mike Allstott across the 45 to the 47. Derek Rogers takes him down there. Gain of 3 on the play. It'll bring up 2nd down and 7.
And that's what John Gruden's going to do. He's going to use different personnel groups and line up guys in different places. That time, an empty backfield. Mike Allstott lined up as a receiver. Brian Greasy delivers a shot to him. Good first down plays, make it a lot easier on your offensive line and particularly on your quarterback.
Chris Sims back on the sidelines, made his first NFL start today for John Gruden. Being treated throughout the game for an injured left shoulder. That's all we know at this point, but he has not returned. You don't expect him to return. Clayton on the end around finds some room inside Saint territory and down to the 45-yard line.
This play is made by Darren Howard, the defensive end for the New Orleans Saints, is aggressive against the running game. Watch Howard right here. He's going to suck in on the fake. Michael Clayton's coming around. No contain there. Get the ball in that guy's hands. He's going to make plays. 2 carries so far. Productive things for the Tampa Bay Buccaneer offense.
Fred Thomas has checked back in for the Buccaneers. Bucs moving, already leading 13-7. They're into Saints territory. Greasy back and looking, throws over the middle, got a man wide open. Dave Moore, check that, it's Ken Dilger. Dilger into the end zone for a touchdown.
How about that?
45-yard connection, Brian Greasy to a wide open Ken Dilger.
Well, they put Michael Clayton in the slot on the strong side, and Brian Greasy looked that way. Everybody went with number 80, Michael Clayton, and here comes Ken Dilger, scot-free down the middle of the field. Great vision by Greasy, and he hammered a strike to him. You're going to see Dilger here. Clayton's going to be up the seam. The whole defense goes with Clayton. There's nobody left in the middle of the field. Brian sees it, throws a strike. Kenny Dilger does the rest.
Brian Greasy today has come off the bench, 7 out of 8, 105 yards, and that touchdown pass. Martin Gramatica adds the extra point, and the Buccaneers have silenced this crowd at the Superdome. They lead the Saints 20-7. Back in New Orleans, Brian Greasy sitting right there. Ken Dilger 2 down. Dave Moore right in between him. It was Greasy and Dilger hooking up just a moment ago. Touchdown puts the Bucs up 20-7. Greasy with a smile on his face, and why not? Martin Gramatica sends Michael Lewis back to the goal line to field the kickoff. Lewis back to the 10, cutting left at the 15. Stopped right there in his tracks. Big hit by Torrey Cox, and the Bucs are fired up looking for their first victory of the season. We're going to take a break. It's Tampa Bay celebrating and leading 20-7 here, but we're only in the 3rd quarter. You think coaches don't sacrifice? Our sideline reporter Eric Clemens tells us John Gruden's barely got a voice. So what do? A couple squirts of that stuff, you're ready to go in the 2nd half.
A lot of intensity coming from John Gruden, Dan, I promise you that.
No question about it. Brooks first down, back, throws for Joe Horn, incomplete. Let's take you back just a moment ago to that touchdown connection for Tampa Bay. Brian Greasy finding Ken Dilger.
I guarantee you everybody on the Saints defense knows who this guy is. This is Michael Clayton running the seam route. Once the play starts, the whole Saints defense goes this way. Here's Kenny Dilger down the middle of the field. Good protection, excellent vision by Brian Greasy seeing the open guy. Big play for Tampa.
Big play, big touchdown, and right now for the Bucs, all things considered, a big lead, 20-7. Brooks on 2nd down. Handoff is to Aaron Stecker. Not much there. Stacked up right at the line by Derek Brooks. Let's find out what else is happening around the league. Let's go back to L.A. James Brown. JP.
Hey, Dan, take a look at Dante Culpepper. 3 touchdown passes today to 3 different receivers. That one to Marcus Robinson. It's 21-7. Vikes on top. And then take a look at Jeremy Shockey. Big, strong tight end. Little push-off. Wasn't called. Roy Williams upset, but it stands. Giants on top, 13-10. That in the 3rd. Back to Dan and Jason.
All right, JB, thank you very much. So Dante Culpepper getting it done. Kurt Warner getting it done. A couple of good football games right there and a couple of good football teams. Brooks back, throws, knocked up in the air, incomplete. Nice play by Mario Edwards, who comes in as the nickelback for Tampa Bay. And once again, the Saints are going to have to punt it away.
It's just not the situation you want to be in. 3rd and 10 against this Bucs defense. Watch Mario Edwards. He rides the receiver, plays up underneath him. Boy, he's pretty darn good as a nickel corner. Imagine this as your 3rd corner on your team. They're very talented on defense. A nice play by Mario Edwards.
Mario Edwards in his 5th year out of Florida State. Tim Brown back deep to receive the punt for the Buccaneers, already leading by 13. Brown's going to return this one from the 34. Cuts it upfield, gets to the 39, close to the 40-yard line. James Allen makes the tackle on special teams. 45-yard punt, 5-yard return. Bucs have the ball at a 13-point advantage. Back inside the Superdome, Brian Griese and the Buccaneers with a 1st down and 10 from their own 39. They lead 20-7. Griese's numbers right there, 158.3. You can't have a higher quarterback rating. Fakes the give, now on the rollout, gets it to Heller, up near midfield to the 50, and that's enough for a 1st down. You know, Griese is an interesting story. He was the man in Denver, then he became the odd man out. Went down to Miami. Things did not work out well for him there. He was number 3 on the depth chart here, and then all of a sudden now, because of the injury to Chris Sims, he is in there, and who knows, he could end up being a starter here sometime soon.
Well, if you watch Brian Griese in practice, I mean, this guy can throw the ball, he can move, he throws from the pocket, he throws on the run. He's a smart guy. This guy just needs an opportunity to have a clean slate. He's gotten it here in Tampa. You're not going to play much better than he's played so far this afternoon.
Also got a 1st down and 10 from midfield. Pitches to Pittman. Flag on the play. Pittman inside the 45 down to the 43-yard line. Derek Rogers making the stop. Gain of 7, but hang on a second. As we said, flag early on that one. Wait for the word again from our referee today, Mike Carey.
Illegal formation on the offense. Number 85, a wide receiver, was on the line of scrimmage, covering up the tight end. 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Penalty called on Ken Dilger right there, so they'll back that up to the 45-yard line. That'll make it 1st down and 15.
But Brian's played awfully well today. You know, he started 55 games in this league. This is only the 3rd time he's come in off the bench. It's a little bit of a different situation for him, but he's such an experienced guy. He's a smart guy. He's well coached by John Shoup, the quarterback coach, and by John Gruden, the head coach. Doesn't surprise me he's playing so well today.
9:45 to go, 3rd quarter. Griese looking right side, throwing for Clayton. Got it inside the 30, down to the 27-yard line. Check that, it's Charles Lee down at the 27. Lee with a big gain of 28 yards.
And this is the kind of stuff that I love seeing Tampa Bay do. Single safety coverage. Watch the safety come down. Single safety. What does that mean outside? Man-to-man coverage. Charles Lee on Ashley Ambrose. Throw it behind him. It's hard to defend it. Brian Griese stands in there with a little heat on him, throws a strike, and Charles Lee is an explosive player. He can make these kinds of plays. With him and Michael Clayton in the lineup, they got a little firepower.
1st down and 10 now from the Saints 27. Pittman, the deep back behind Griese, gets the call. Cuts it back, left, falls forward, gains a yard. Charles Grant makes the tackle. It'll be 2nd down and 9.
You talk to these Saints coaches, and they really like Charles Grant. 5 sacks coming into this game, 2nd in the NFL, but they say he plays the run, he rushes the passer, a lot of intensity out of this kid. He played with the tackle, Jonathan Sullivan. They played together at Georgia on an unbelievable defensive line. This guy's taking it to the next level. He's one of the best defensive ends in this league.
Not a bad running back in high school either.
He and Herschel Walker have the record for most touchdowns, 45 in Georgia State history.
Griese on 2nd down with time. Now he's got to get out of the pocket, rolling left. Running out of bounds at about the 23-yard line. That'll bring up 3rd down. James Allen forcing things from the inside for Tampa.
Pressure inside, and Brian has the presence of mind to step up and then get himself out of the pocket. He knows where he is on the field. You run out of bounds, you gain a couple yards, and you keep yourself in a manageable situation. No disaster, just make positive plays. Not much happening down the field. Brian gets out and then gets himself out of bounds.
It'll be a 3rd down and 6 now for Griese. 2 tight ends come into the game for the Bucs. Dilger and Heller both in there. Charles Lee to the bottom of your screen. Tim Brown to the top. Throw is to Lee inside the 20, incomplete. Nice coverage out there by Fakir Brown.
Brian Greasy seeing the man-to-man coverage outside. Charles Lee working Fakir Brown. He's going to run the slant route. Fakir Brown coming in with that right hand and making a big stop, forcing Martin Gramatica to kick this field goal. A big play for New Orleans on defense.
So this is going to be a 41-yard field goal attempt for Martin Gramatica. He has already connected twice today. Trying to extend that Buccaneer lead again. Gramatica sends it on its way, and that is no good. Hooked it left, no good, and the Buccaneers come up empty right there.
John might have to go back and get a little more of that throat spray after that one.
Looks like he's definitely got something to say to somebody. Doesn't have much of a voice left, but nonetheless, with the Bucs leading by 13, they could have used another field goal to stretch that lead to 16.
Well, sometimes those trademark John Gruden expressions tell it all. Looked like the hold was good. Martin just pulled the thing a little bit. Didn't come off his foot real well. He's actually been kicking the ball well through the first 4 ball games. Didn't make the long one in the first half. You need those points, though. If you're 0-4, you got to get points any way you can get them.
Well, it has been quiet here at the Superdome. These Saints have not given their fans much of a reason to cheer today. They'll try to get going right here. Deuce McAllister finding a hole. Now you hear from him across the 45 out to the 47. Dwight Smith the tackle, but not before McAllister can pick up 17 and a first down.
And that's what Jim Haslam and Mike McCarthy, the offensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints, that's what they want to do. They want to run the football north and south against this defense. They're fast, but they're not big. Get number 26, head north and south down the football field. A good start for New Orleans on this drive.
13 carries, 62 yards after missing 2 games with a high ankle sprain. Brooks to throw, looks left, got it out there. It's complete to Stallworth. Still on his feet, inside the 30, down to the 25-yard line. Rondé Barber finally forces him out, but Stallworth and Brooks connect for 27.
Isn't it amazing what happens when you run the football? This time, Aaron Brooks, he's going to go play action pass, sit in the pocket, man-to-man coverage outside. Not much of a pass rush. He throws the comeback to Stallworth. Mario Edwards there, but not making the tackle. He's about as explosive a player as there is in this league. He just has to stay healthy. Dante Stallworth making another big play for New Orleans.
Saints in business at the 26, trailing by 13. Give is to McAllister, through the line, at the 20. McAllister inside the 15, down to the 14-yard line.
You know,
gain of 12 before Brian Kelly stopped him.
Excuse me, Dan. 2 years ago, Deuce McAllister and this New Orleans Saints team were playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this building. He was coming off a high ankle sprain. I talked to Monty Kiffin and Mike Tomlin, the defensive coaches for Tampa Bay. They said they gave it to McAllister 33 times. He only gained about 95 yards, but he dominated the football game. He's not himself today, but he's playing well, and this is what the Saints want to do on offense.
14 carries today for McAllister so far. Make it 15, cuts it back. McAllister inside the 10, down to the 9. Barber again with a stop, gain of 4.
This is a football player right here. You see the power, but now you see the vision. He puts the right foot in the ground and finds the crease in that Tampa Bay defense. I like how this Saints offensive line's coming off the ball. They're big road graders on that right-hand side. McCarthy likes to run behind him. So does Deuce McAllister.
Mike McCarthy, their offensive coordinator, clearly made a few adjustments at halftime. The Saints executing much better here. Their best drive of the day. 2nd down and 6 from the 10. Again, McAllister cuts it back to the left. Inside the 5, down to the 2. It's going to be 1st and goal to go for New Orleans after a gain of 8. Ian Gold and Jermaine Phillips make the stop for Tampa Bay. But right now, it's the Saints knocking on the door.
They love to run right, but when you have a back like Deuce McAllister, he's going to cut it back. Watch Simeon Rice cave inside. Deuce starts right, has the vision to bounce it left. And again, those shoulders are square. He's running north and south. It's a bad sign when your safeties are making a lot of tackles.
Mike carry the up back in front of McAllister. Saints trailing by 13. 1st down, goal to go from the 2. They give it to Carey, tries the left side. Didn't get in, but he did get inside the 1. Mike Carey is one big fullback, 5'11", 258. Looks like somebody took a guard and just kind of scrunched him down a little bit.
He's a big, strong guy. It's a fine line as a play caller. You know, do you keep handing it to Deuce, or do you get Carney involved? And I like the call. You show Deuce on the right-hand side. You slip the ball back to Carney. He gets his shoulder squared, forces it down. Now it's 2nd and 1. A pretty darn good situation to be in for New Orleans.
2nd and goal to go. This time they give it to McAllister. He's met right at the line of scrimmage. Nowhere to go, and down he goes.
It's like a rugby scrum, for crying out loud. The swarming defense, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This time they try to go off the left side. Penetration inside. And a lot of white shirts. It's Jeff Gooch, Spires, Dwight Smith, Simeon. Here comes Jermaine Phillips. That's what Monty Kiffin likes to see from his defense.
A lot of hats on the ball right there, no question about it. Monty Kiffin and his defense trying to hold one more time. It is 3rd down and goal for Aaron Brooks and the Saints, and as the play clock winds down, they're going to have to use a timeout right here. So the Saints will talk about it. They're trying to score, trailing by 13.
How we doing, boys?
All right, so the Saints had to burn a timeout. They are down to 2 remaining here in this game. Jim Haslett looking on, head coach of the Saints. You saw Monty Kiffin, defensive coordinator of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A situation there, you see the score, Bucs leading 20-7, but it's 3rd down and goal from just outside the 1 for the Saints right now. You're Jim Haslett. What do? You got an athletic quarterback in Aaron Brooks. Do you run McAllister up the middle, or do you let him roll out?
Well, if I'm Jim Haslett, I'm a former linebacker. I'm telling Mike McCarthy, let's run the ball. That's what he wants to do. That's what he thinks the Saints are at their best. You know, I think they're going to run off the right-hand side on 3rd down, and you got to consider this a 4-down territory. So you might see 2 runs off the right-hand side, try to challenge that defensive line of Tampa Bay.
Well, what we have just learned from down on the field is the play clock was wrong before that last play and before they spent that timeout. So in fact, they will not be charged with the timeout, and New Orleans still has all 3 of them, which could be huge in this game, which they trail by 13.
How about that? You get a chance to talk about it, and you get your timeout back.
McAllister is the deep back behind Brooks. 3rd down and goal. Brooks fakes the give to McAllister, rolls out, throws incomplete. Knocked down on the play by Greg Spires. Nice job.
Dan, this is a walk-in touchdown. They faked McAllister off the left-hand side. Aaron Brooks has a wide-open receiver, and Greg Spires, who caused the fumble that Rondé Barber picked up in the first half, gets his hands up. Watch Spires right here, getting in Aaron Brooks's face. It's a tough play to make. He's got Ernie Conwell standing there for a touchdown. Number 94, Greg Spires, making another big play. That's a game changer right there. He causes the fumble that Rondé returns, and he prevents a touchdown right there. Outstanding job by Greg Spires.
John Carney on to attempt the extra point, or excuse me, they wish it were an extra point, the field goal. Flags fly, no play. Hang on a second.
False start. Offense number 71. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
So that'll back them up a little bit more.
And this is the right thing to do. You make this game 20-10 with just under 3 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. A lot of football to be played. You got to get points. You got to get points, and I think this is the right call by Jim Haslett.
So instead of a 25-yard attempt, instead of a 20-yard attempt, it'll be a 25-yard attempt for John Carney. Spot down kick is up, and it is good. Hang on 1 second. We have another flag. We have had no shortage of flags today.
I really like Mike Carey. He's a nice guy, but we're seeing a little bit too much of him today, I think.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. On the defense, number 90, stepping on the back of an opponent. That's a leverage call. The kick is good. The foul will be assessed on the kickoff.
The New Orleans offense had come back out of the field. They thought that the personal foul was going to lead to a 1st down. But in fact, Mike Carey just told us that the personal foul was in a dead ball situation and will be assessed on the kickoff. So let's hang on for 1 second.
Penalty is accepted. They will take the points off the board. Half the distance for goal. First down.
There you go.
Yeah, this story's not over yet. That play obviously happened during the play. They get the first down. You're just not allowed to do this. This rule has been enforced. How about that?
Dwayne White, second year out of Louisville, called for the penalty right there. And that gives new life to New Orleans, which is something you did not want to do if you're John Gruden and the winless Buccaneers.
You're not going to see a more athletic play, and that's one of those things for this Tampa Bay team where they're trying so much. They're trying to make a difference in the game. We're trying to block the kick, trying too hard, playing outside the framework of the rules. Now New Orleans has another opportunity.
They had it first and goal at the 2 a couple of minutes ago, could not get it in, had to attempt the field goal. Now they've got it first and goal again, this time from the 3. McAllister is the back behind Brooks. That's Boo Williams in motion. Brooks to throw, looking for Williams. Left side, overthrows him, incomplete. That'll bring up second and goal.
You know, Dan, the best time to run play action down at the goal line is on first down. Most defenses really sell out trying to stop the run, so I like the call. But now you get yourself in 2nd and 3. What do you come back with? You're going to try to run it twice? I think it's probably not a bad idea to give the ball to Deuce McAllister, particularly on the right-hand side, and see if they can hammer him a little bit.
McAllister today, 17 carries, 86 yards. They need 3 right here. 2nd and goal. Joe Horn split out wide to the right side. Again, that's Boo Williams in motion. And again, Brooks to throw. Looks, wants Horn, got him. Touchdown, Saints. Flags fly. If it's against the Bucs, it's a touchdown.
Pass interference. Defense. Decline. Score is good.
Now there's more flags flying down on the field, so hang on 1 second. We do have a touchdown. We know that much.
We sure do. And we got 9 flags on the field right now. A lot of activity after the play.
And there goes another one right there. I don't know who's, unless they continue to throw flags.
They come back. Aaron Brooks comes back with the same play action. And he gets Joe Horn working man-to-man against Dwight Smith. Down in these goal line situations, it's the same play action. You get these safeties in man-to-man coverage.
Fouls by both teams. Both of them taunting on the offense, number 87, and the defense, number 55. Those fouls offset. We'll try from the 2-yard line.
All right, so offsetting taunting calls, one on Derek Brooks, one on Joe Horn.
And Joe Horn makes the big play. You get that safety out of the middle of the field in a goal line situation, covering Joe Horn. Joe Horn's the best receivers the Saints have, running the slant man-to-man coverage down the goal line. It's an excellent play call by Mike McCarthy and the Saints. Aaron Brooks throws a strike to Joe Horn.
All right, so everybody has collected their laundry down there. All of the flags are off the field. Bottom line is this: it is a touchdown for the Saints. They will attempt the extra point. John Carney in to do that, trying to make this a 6-point game once again. Spot down, kick is up, and it's good. So the Saints tack on 7 more, and it is now the Bucs leading by a score of 20-14 with 2:46 to go in the 3rd quarter.
And it goes back to a guy for Tampa Bay, maybe trying to do a little bit too much. Dwayne White, the unsportsmanlike penalty, climbing on the back, giving New Orleans another opportunity. Aaron Brooks, Joe Horn, they strike again. Big difference in the ball game, 20-14. New Orleans is back in this thing.
We got a good one right here. There's more football coming up on Fox. Second half of our doubleheader on the way. Big game many of you will be seeing will be the Rams and the Seahawks. Seahawks off to a great start, but this one has the makings of a shootout. You got Mark Polcher on one side, Matt Hasselbeck on the other side. Two guys that can get their offenses up and down the field.
They sure can. We're going to see a lot of scoring today. I think a guy who's playing about as well as anybody in this league at the quarterback position is Matt Hasselbeck. You know, he sort of quietly went out there and struggled a little bit early in his career as a Seahawk, but he, over the last year and a half, has played as well as anybody at the position. It's going to be an exciting ball game.
And don't forget, those of you here in New Orleans, we'll see that second game coming up. Just make some plans to sit back and relax and watch some football. I can tell you this, there's not much to do outside here in New Orleans. It has been raining since we got here on Friday, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop for a while.
Big day of sports on Fox, a doubleheader game. We got the baseball tonight. Why not?
Absolutely.
Kick back in the lazy boy, Dan.
John Carty with a kickoff. Cox is going to take it at the 3, back to the 15 to the 20, cutting left at the 25 and taken down at the 26-yard line. That's where the Buccaneers will take over. Leading by a score of 20-14, Brian Griese will bring his offense back out on the field. If you are just joining us, Chris Sims did in fact make his first career start for Tampa Bay. However, he went out early with a shoulder injury. Since then, it has been Brian Griese. So take a look at Sims on the sidelines right there.
Disappointing for Chris. He had played well before he went out with that injury. A little bit reminiscent of his dad's career early on with the Giants. Had some injury problems. And, you know, Chris is the kind of guy who's grown up around football. He knows what this thing's all about, how to handle adversity.
2:41 to go, third quarter. Griese and the Bucs on first down. They give it to Pittman, trying the left side across the 25, back to the 30. Tackled by Fakir Brown, gain of 5. That'll bring up second down and 5. Let's go back and take a look at what happened to Chris Sims earlier. Trying to get out of the pocket and just driven into the ground by Will Smith. And we have not seen Chris Sims back in the ball game since then.
Yeah,
they're calling it a left shoulder injury.
And the Saints defensive line, they'll come get a quarterback now. They got some guys who can rush the passer, and Chris got that left shoulder trapped up underneath his body. And, you know, like I said, he's handled adversity before at the University of Texas. He's seen it with his dad as a quarterback for the New York Football Giants. This kid's tough. He'll be back.
8 of the last 10 games between these two teams have been decided by a touchdown or less. We have a 6-point difference right now. Griese to Dilger, short of the 35-yard line, gets it out to about the 34. Gain of 3. He's going to bring up third down and short. Jay Bellamy, safety, making the tackle for New Orleans.
You know, I think Tampa Bay has played a lot better on offense, you know, this week and last week even against Denver. And I think a lot of that has to do with the return of Michael Pittman. You know, there's a guy at the running back position who's great out of the backfield, but also brings a lot of toughness to their running game. And, you know, I think he's been the focal point early on in this ball game, and a lot of the good play-action plays they've had off of that has a lot to do with Michael Pittman's success from the tailback spot.
Pittman today, 11 carries, 34 yards. Third down, 2 to go. Flag on the play. Griese rolling right. He's got some room to run. Tackled before he can get the first down. Great play by Charles Grant, who chased down Brian Griese and took him down at the 34-yard line. But hang on, there is a flag on the play.
Mike Carey sorting it out for us.
Illegal shift by the offense is declined. Fourth down.
I'm going to tell you something. That's the kind of athleticism that they absolutely love in Charles Grant.
I'll tell you
because
what.
Watch him just chase down Brian Griese.
This is an up-and-coming football player in this league, and we joked about it before. Charles Grant is tied for the most touchdowns as a running back in Georgia State history with the great Herschel Walker. You got a glimpse of his athleticism right there. 5 sacks coming into this ball game. This guy plays the run. He rushes the passer. This is going to be the next great star on defense for the New Orleans Saints.
And wouldn't it be ironic if Aaron Brooks and Charles Grant, the 2 Saints that were involved in that shouting match on the plane back from New Orleans, were the guys to lead this team to victory? Josh Bidwell with the punt. Sends it back to Michael Lewis. Lewis takes it at the 20, back to the 25, hit from behind and taken down at the 29. The ball came loose. It looked as if the Saints were on top of it, and in fact, they will keep the football. Big hit, though, from behind.
What a great play by Corey Ivy. Corey Ivy goes past Michael Lewis. Michael Lewis feels like he's done with him. He gets himself back in the play, and wham! A little bit reminiscent of the shot that Eli Manning took in week 1. Sometimes you account for guys in your mind and they go past you. You feel like you're done with them. Corey Ivy staying in the play and making a big play for the Bucs special teams.
So with 33 seconds to go in the third quarter, Bucs leading the Saints 20-14. Take a look at the team leaders so far in this game. Aaron Brooks 8 out of 18 for 73 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bruce McAllister back after missing 2 games, doing a nice job for the Saints too. Brooks on first down. In the pocket, throws, got it to Aaron Stecker. He's drilled right at the 30-yard line. Gain of 1. It'll be 2nd and 9. Been seeing Derek Brooks do that for a long time.
I'll tell you what, he's an amazing football player, Dan. I've never been around a guy who's as good a player as he is, who works as hard as he does and studies this game. He sees everything. He reads the quarterback's eyes. You see him running from sideline to sideline, making plays. This is the kind, if you're looking for a role model, you play football and you're a young kid, look no further than number 55. He's a special guy.
We have 15 minutes to play as we have come to the end of the third quarter. Tampa Bay leading New Orleans 20-14. Well, we've had some big plays so far through 3 quarters. 20-14. Saints with it right now, facing a 2nd down and 9. Aaron Stecker is the deep back. He gets the call right there, spinning at the 30 out to the 33. And that's going to bring up 3rd down. Take a look at the stats through 3 quarters in this game. Rushing yards, the Saints, well, you put Deuce McAllister back in their lineup, and that's a big reason that they're able to run the ball once again.
And that's been the Saints' formula against this Tampa Bay team. Remember, they've beaten them 3 out of the last 4 times they've played. They feel like they got to be physical and run the ball north and south on them. I think this is the one that surprises me the most. 203 passing yards for 2 backup quarterbacks for Tampa Bay. Both Chris Sims and Brian Greasy have played very well.
Saints looking at a 3rd down and 6. They are 2 out of 8 today on 3rd down conversions. Brooks feeling the pressure, rolling right. Flag down in the backfield. Brooks throws it complete out across midfield, down inside the 40-yard line to Jerome Payton. But hang on, this one's coming back.
It's going to be a hold. Wayne Gandy on Simeon Rice.
Holding. Offense number 72. 10-yard penalty is still 3rd down.
Wayne Gandy has had a tough time handling Simeon Rice today.
I think everybody does. And, you know, we talked about it earlier that Simeon Rice only having 1 sack coming into this ball game. This guy is a tough guy. Tough duty for Wayne Gandy today. And here comes Simeon in that wide stance coming around the edge. Not much you can do. You got to get out of your stance and get depth. Simeon is so fast, though. Again, applying some pressure backside of Aaron Brooks. 2 holding calls, a couple false starts on Wayne Gandy. A lot of it has to do with that guy right there, number 97, Simeon Rice.
Well, Brooks has not been sacked today, but he has certainly felt the pressure, and his offensive linemen have felt the pressure from Simeon Rice as well. 3rd down and 16 now. Brooks from the shotgun. Pocket holds, looks left side, throws for Joe Horn. Got him at the 45, and that's good enough for a 1st down.
How about that?
Big connection from Brooks to Horn. And how many times have these two done that? 21 yards right there.
Are you kidding me? 3rd and 17 against this Tampa Bay defense. It's a 3-man rush. A lot of black shirts sitting in there. Aaron Brooks stands in the pocket and delivers a strike. Excellent protection, excellent finish down the field, and a huge 3rd down pickup. Aaron Brooks, Joe Horn, and this New Orleans Saints offense.
1st down and 10 from their own 45. Trailing by 6. On 1st down, they're going to keep it on the ground. And finding a little bit of room in there, and then finding quite a bit of room is Deuce McAllister. Stacked up at the line, but just kept those legs going. Finally picks up 8. Jeff Gooch makes the stop. That'll bring up 2nd down and 2.
If the Saints come back and win this ball game, that 3rd and 17 will really be the difference. But back to the formula. Deuce off the left side this time. Everybody's running the ball on Tampa Bay, but they're not quite as stout. You can't be everything. You can't be big, strong guys and also running from sideline to sideline. I like the attack by Mike McCarthy and the Saints. Just keep hammering Deuce in the middle of that line of scrimmage.
Saints now into Buccaneer territory. 2nd down and 2. Again, it's McAllister. Gets down to the 45, has a first down, falls forward to the 42. Gain of 4, but they'll move the chains again.
Again, this has been the formula. 3 out of the last 4 times these teams have played, the Saints have won the game. And, you know, Jim Haslett told us that 2 years ago, everybody in the league called him as the Bucs were making the playoff run. How do you beat these guys? What's the formula? And he told them, you got to hammer them. You got to hammer this defense. They're fast, they're athletic, but they're not stout. And that's what we're seeing from the Saints on offense today.
First down and 10 now from the 43. That's Horn in motion. Deep back is McAllister. Play action fake. Brooks looking out there for Boo Williams. It's going to be picked off by Brian Kelly. Kelly back to the 25. Tackled there. But a big play by the Buccaneer defense. Something they hadn't been getting before today. But several times this afternoon, we've seen it.
Those are those plays. Those are the plays that we saw 2 years ago when this team was on their run to the Super Bowl. This time it's Brian Kelly stepping underneath Boo Williams. 20-14 Tampa.
So after the Brian Kelly interception, the Buccaneers have it back, holding on to that 6-point lead with 11:29 to go in the 4th quarter. Brian Greasy, play action fake, gets it to Mike Allstott, incomplete. Well, let's go back and take a look at that interception because it was a huge play for the Bucs.
Dan, Boo Williams has been a big part of this passing game. He's going to run down the field, start to the corner, and go back to the post. They go play action. Aaron Brooks a little late with the throw and a little short with the throw. Brian Kelly coming back up underneath and making a big play for Tampa Bay. And these are the kind of plays that a couple years ago we were so used to this Buc defense making. The big turnovers that swing the game. Another big play by their defense.
Second down and 10. After the shift, it's Pittman, the deep back behind Greasy. Greasy, play action, in the pocket, throws, got it to Pittman. Pittman across the 30, out to the 33-yard line. Won't quite have enough for the first down. Gain of 6, it'll bring up 3rd down and 4. Orlando Ruff, the middle linebacker, starting today for Courtney Watson, makes the stop.
I've been impressed by Brian Greasy's pocket presence. A lot of Saints defensive lineman around him there, steps up inside and finds his 3rd receiver. The check down to Pittman, and again gets them in a manageable 3rd down situation. A lot easier to make 3rd and 4 than it is 3rd and 10.
Now they're making some noise at the Superdome. They have been quiet for much of the day. Saints trailing by 6, but the home crowd's trying to rally them. Greasy, 3rd down and 4. Gonna pass, pocket, throws, got it complete to Clayton, and that's enough for the first down. They keep going back to the rookie, and he keeps answering the call.
He sure does, and he's
Stay up. Bagwell goes out of the zone a little bit. It looked like it was going to be a fastball right there. 3-2.
Michael Clayton is a football player, and he's got everything else. He runs well, he's big, he's competitive, and that's what makes a superstar. If you got all the ability and you're also a football player, you're a guy that everybody around the league talks about.
First-round pick out of LSU, and on first down, it's Pittman. Gets up to the 40-yard line, gain of 2. It'll bring up 2nd down and 8. Remember, last time Michael Clayton was on this football field, he won a national championship with LSU. He's from Louisiana. He's trying to make this once again a successful homecoming because these Tampa Bay Buccaneers come into this game winless.
Well, he got 75 tickets for the game. He came into our production meeting yesterday, and our producer, Greg Scopatoni, said, hey, I got 4 more. And he said, yeah, I'll take them. So now we got 79 guys in Clayton's crew.
Well, there they are right there. 2nd down and 8 for the Bucs. Greasy's going to call timeout. Saw something he didn't like. He'll go to the sidelines and talk it over with John Gruden. Bucs up by 6. The Saints looking for a little help in New Orleans. Trailing by 6 here in the 4th quarter. That may not be exactly what they have in mind, but nonetheless, if you're down, you'll take it any way you can get it. 2nd down and 8 for Brian Greasy and the Bucs, trying to keep their drive alive. Flag on the play. And it looks like once again that's going to go against Tampa Bay, and it will.
Offense number 89, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
False start on tight end Will Heller. That'll back them up even further. They'll now be looking at a 2nd down and 13.
That's Will's 2nd false start penalty of the day, and I like what Brian Greasy's doing. He knows the Saints defensive line wants to come after him, use the hard count. But again, when you have a different quarterback in there, you're playing with a different group of guys. Sometimes you got to think about risk and reward. And boy, you hate to be in 2nd and 13.
10 penalties for 55 yards today against the Buccaneers. Makes things a little tougher on Brian Greasy. He's back in the pocket, throwing it complete to Pittman, out across the 40. Gain of 5, and that's going to bring up 3rd down and about 9.
Look who's around that play. Orlando Ruff makes the tackle, but there he is one more time. Charles Grant is getting himself involved, running all over the football field, making plays for this Saints defense.
Fast and easy systems.
Greasy getting it out to Pittman, and there's Grant.
A lot of black shirts around the football.
8:45 to go in the game. Tampa Bay trying to keep the drive alive and hang out of the football. 3rd down and 8. And it looks like Greasy's going to have to take another timeout. So they've spent 2 timeouts on this drive. They have 1 remaining in the game, but they are up by 6. More when we come back.
Fox NFL Sundays brought to you by Bud Light. Fresh, smooth, real. It's all here.
Back at the Superdome, Tampa Bay leading New Orleans by a score of 20-14. Brian Greasy spent a timeout a moment ago. They're looking at a 3rd down and 8. Saints need the football back. Greasy with 3 receivers in the game. Back, looking left, throws. Ball is knocked away, and it's a free ball. Picked up by Will Smith, who's taken down. Hang on just a second. Looks like Greasy might have gotten it back. Smith had a chance at it, but couldn't come up with a handle. Charles Grant was able to get in there and separate Greasy from the football. Smith had a chance at it. Might have been that old deal where coaches tell you don't try and pick it up and run with it. Get down on it.
Take a look at Kenyatta Walker here playing right tackle, and one more time, Charles Grant, that guy we've been talking about all day long. The speed rush outside. Will Smith around the quarterback as well. The sack fumble's a dangerous play in this game.
Bidwell gets the punt away. Lewis is going to take it at the 28, taken down at the 31, and that's where the Saints will take over. Torrey Cox making the special teams tackle, but New Orleans has it back, trailing in this game by 6. Got a great day planned for you here on Fox. I've already told you about our doubleheader coming up next, and tonight, much more. We've got baseball, Cardinals, Dodgers, Game 4 of their NLDS Series, 7:30 Eastern Time, 4:30 Pacific. How about the game by Jose Lima last night? Keeping the Dodgers alive after the Cardinals had won 2 in a row and had a chance to close it out.
Jose Lima last night, Charles Grant today here in New Orleans. This guy has been all over the place, great against the run, more pressure again on Tampa Bay quarterbacks. You got to stay out of those 3rd and 8 situations.
1st down and 10 for the Saints. 13 times in Aaron Brooks' career, he has led his team from behind for a victory in the 4th quarter. Aaron Stecker, the former Buck, with a hole to the left side, down into Tampa Bay territory and taken out at the 46. 23 yards on the play.
A little bit like thunder and lightning. This Tampa Bay defense is sick and tired of seeing Deuce McAllister. This time it's going to be Aaron Stecker off the left-hand side. A good kick-out block by the tight end, and here comes Aaron Stecker. Something to prove. Anytime you play your old team, you want to show them that you can still play. The Tampa Bay team has a lot of respect for Stecker. It's easy to see why.
Well, 2 weeks ago, the Bucs faced Warren Sapp. Last week, John Lynch. Today, Aaron Stecker. He may not have the stature of the first 2 guys, but he picked up 23 right there. 1st down and 10 for the 46. That's Stecker again. Met behind the line of scrimmage, carries forward, picks up 1, maybe 2. It's going to be 2nd down and long. Rondé Barber making the tackle.
Rondé Barber coming off the edge right there. These guys do it all in that Tampa Bay secondary. But Aaron Stecker's a great story. A guy who's been waiting for his opportunity. You know, as a college player, Ron Dane comes to Wisconsin. When he's waiting for his opportunity, he transfers to Western Illinois, waiting for his opportunity down in Tampa. He got a chance a couple weeks ago when Deuce McAllister got hurt, had over 100 yards against the Rams, and now Deuce is back in the ball game.
6:45 to go here. 2nd down and 9. To give this time to McAllister, who's back in. Sidesteps a tackler at the 45, gets down to the 41-yard line. Gain of 4. That's going to bring up 3rd down and 5. Well, what got us to this point? A very big play by the Tampa Bay defense. Spires forces the fumble. Rondé Barber picks it up and takes it back for the score.
And the mantra that we heard yesterday from all the Tampa Bay guys is let's just keep hustling. Those plays will come. Play the defense, keep hustling. A lot of white shirts are around the football all the time. And nobody's better at picking up the fumble and running it back than that guy right there, Rondé Barber.
Well, the play clock is wound all the way down to 0. Mike Carey's got something to say about that. We've had a couple problems, it seems, with the play clock today. Once it was reset incorrectly, and the Saints were able to get a timeout back because of that. Now Mike Carey has come over to talk with Jim Haslett.
The play clock did not reset to 40 seconds. We'll adjust it, and New Orleans will not be charged with a team timeout.
Because Aaron Brooks had looked up and seen that the play clock was winding down and was going to be forced to use a timeout there. We've got that straightened out. Saints still have the football. 3rd down and 5. Big play for them. 6:10 to go. They trail by 6. They need to find the end zone. Take a look at the 3rd down conversions. The Saints came into this game last in the NFL, converting 25% of their opportunities. Today a little bit better, 33%, 3 out of 9.
They've run the ball better on early downs, and they've been in some more manageable 3rd down situations. A manageable one here, 3rd and 5.
Horn in motion, Brooks from the shotgun. Pocket holds. He's got Horn inside the 35, down to the 32. 1st down. Brian Kelly in coverage for Tampa, but he can't prevent the Saints from picking up 10 and another 1st down.
Joe Horn loves running those slant routes. He starts Brian Kelly to the outside, then works back in on the slant. And Aaron Brooks throws a strike in there, a huge pickup. Protection is good up front by this Saints offensive line. Aaron's got a lot of space to throw. He delivers a strike. It's a big pickup for New Orleans.
Brooks today 11 out of 22 for 106 yards and a pair of touchdowns. Also an interception. Got to take care of the football here. That's McAllister. Met at the line, taken down, gain of 1. Ian Gold makes the stop. It'll be 2nd and 9.
It's interesting. A lot of the successful plays that we've seen by Tampa Bay against this New Orleans running game are coming from the edges. We saw Rondé Barber a couple plays ago. This time it's Ian Gold. They're almost meeting Deuce in the backfield before he gets to the line of scrimmage. The Saints offensive line, I think, is hammering this defensive line a little bit, but those fast guys off the edges are disrupting the running game.
Deuce McAllister over 100 yards rushing today. 21 carries, 103 yards. 2nd down and 9, just outside the 30. McAllister the deep back, play action fake. Brooks keeps it. Tampa Bay sniffs it out. Brooks has nowhere to go. He'll gain a couple, but it's going to bring up 3rd down and long. Nice play in there. Rondé Barber stayed home. Dwight Smith stayed home. Both guys doing a good job of tracking down Aaron Brooks.
I like the call, and I love the athleticism of Aaron Brooks. You're out there by yourself with Rondé Barber. Potentially a disastrous play. He pump fakes it, gets himself to the outside, and again, a lot more manageable situation. 3rd and 8, a lot easier than 3rd and 12 or 13.
Aaron Stecker checks in. Deuce McAllister comes out. Both receivers to the right side, the top of your screen. Stallworth and Joe Horn. Brooks from the shotgun. Pocket holds, looks, wants the end zone, and Stallworth incomplete. And that'll bring up 4th down now, and a decision for Jim Haslett. He's decided he's going to kick a field goal. He'll bring John Carney on.
Again, I think it's the right decision to make this game 20-17. It's only a field goal game. Watch Stallworth work in the slot. Aaron Brooks climbs the pocket. He tries to fit the ball down the middle between the two safeties, just a little bit too far. And here comes John Carney.
It will be a 47-yard field goal attempt for John Carney. Spot down, the kick is up for Carney, on its way. And it is good. Just like that, 3 more points for New Orleans, and we got a 3-point game here at the Superdome. 3:43 to go. John Gruden and the Bucs looking for their first victory of the year. John Gruden and Tampa Bay come into this one 0-4, looking for their first victory. Their lead is down to 3 here at the Superdome. John Carney set to kick it off for the Saints. Torrey Cox back deep for the Buccaneers. Carney sends it on its way. It's going to be Cox. Back at the 4-yard line. Back to the 10, cuts left at the 15. Keeps his feet, still going at the 25, out to the 30. What a return by Cox out to the 40, 44-yard line, and that's where Tampa Bay will take over. James Allen finally making the stop on special teams, but that was some terrific running out there by Torrey Cox.
And this is huge. I mean, field position's important any time in the game, but when you're under 4 minutes to go, and 3 points separate the two teams. Torrey Cox making a big play for Tampa Bay. Get themselves out past the 40-yard line. Even if this drive doesn't work out, you punt it. You force the Saints to go the long field. A huge play by Torrey Cox and his Bucs special teams.
Getting it done there. Bucs lost their regular kick returner, Frank Murphy, to a torn Achilles tendon last week. Michael Pittman, left side, flag down, gets into New Orleans territory at the 49. But hang on for a second. Saints are saying, come on back.
Holding, offense number 78. 10-yard penalty, it means first down.
You know, the Bucs have been in so many close games this year, except for the Raider blowout out there in Oakland. You know, all the scores have been close. They've all come down to a field goal or a touchdown late, those types of things. You look at the record right there, 0-7 in games decided by 4 fewer points. Since the start of last season, they haven't been able to win the close games, and that's one of the reasons right there. They're making mistakes and errors down the stretch. They're not being like Mariano Rivera. They're not closing things out when they need to, and that's what they need to do today.
11 penalties against the Buccaneers so far this afternoon. The last one has them looking at a first down and 20. Charles Lee in motion behind Brian Greasy. Greasy sets in the pocket, throws, got it complete out to the 45-yard line to Ken Dilger. Gain of 11. It'll bring up second down and 9. So they got half that yardage back, which is a big key for Tampa Bay.
Dan, I can't tell you how impressed I am with Brian Greasy. Saints do a good job taking away his first receiver, steps up and finds Dilger in the middle of the field, getting 11 back.
Looks like we have a timeout down on the field. Timeout down on the field. Now, they signaled that that was a timeout taken by Tampa Bay. Okay, the timeout is taken by New Orleans. They are down to 2 to go. So they'll stop the clock with 3 minutes, 18 seconds to go. Tampa Bay looking at a second down and 9.
And that's what you have to do in that situation. If you're the Bucs offense, you obviously can't try to get it all back. It's 1st and 20. You throw the football. If you can get half of it back on first down, 2nd and 9 is very manageable. Look for them to get Michael Pittman back involved here on 2nd and 9.
So here come the Bucs. The Saints looking for a stop. Lead the football back, trailing by 3. New Orleans has 2 timeouts remaining. Greasy on 2nd and 9. Play action, looks, throws, got Pittman at midfield. Taken down right there. It's going to bring up 3rd down and 4. Orlando Rupp, the middle linebacker, makes the stop.
Nice job by New Orleans rallying to the cause right there. Brian, again, finding his check down in Michael Pittman.
And once again, the Saints will stop the clock. 3:12 to go now. They only have 1 timeout remaining. So this becomes a very big play for both sides coming up. 3rd down, 5 to go. Bucs trying to keep the drive alive and kill that clock. Saints trying to get the football back.
That's a big decision for New Orleans here in terms of personnel. Tampa Bay uses a lot of what we call regular personnel in 3rd down situations. So the Saints have to decide, hey, do I bring an extra DB in? Do I keep our linebackers in? Extra corner in the ball game. It looks like they're going with their nickel personnel, taking one of their linebackers out and adding the extra defensive back. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some sort of a run here by Tampa Bay.
Well, you saw Brian Greasy's numbers since he has come in for Chris Sims. Everybody cheering at the Superdome. Greasy trying to draw him off sides. Not going to do it. He'll take a timeout. He was trying to draw the Saints off sides on 3rd and 5. Not going to work. He'll go over and talk to John Gruden about this one, as the Buccaneers have a chance to regroup.
I think more than anything else, John Gruden was just trying to trick the Saints defense. He wanted to see what kind of personnel they were going to use. He got out of the huddle quickly, lined up in a funny formation, gave Brian some options to audible. You saw him step away from the line of scrimmage, use some hand signals. But all the while, if they didn't get the exact look they wanted versus this Saints defense, Brian was going to call timeout. And Brian's played awfully well today. I mean, to think that he hasn't played in a long time, hasn't played since he started last year for Miami in the middle of the year, to come